Hello everybody, welcome to another video. Listen to this, can you hear in the background there? Obviously I'm sitting here on character select where it's playing the character select music and the intro is playing the character select music, so I'm like listening to it double here. It's such a cacophony. Hello everybody, welcome. Monday evening, hope we're all doing good. We're on part 13, kind of. It's a little bit more because we had the bonus episode, but still. Do you know what? It occurred to me. It's really weird, but this is probably the second to last episode of this LP. Probably next part, we will have, by the end of next part, we will have seen and done everything, probably. And that's 14 episodes, right? 14, which is like exactly what last year's was. Like beat for beat, it's very, very, very similar. I mean, I wasn't aiming for that. I kind of suspected it might be around that. But yeah, goddamn. All right, let's jump in. Hello to everyone in the live chat. First of all, 13 a.m. said, I think for WP, the story's been highly enjoyable and more fun to speculate about in comparison to JW and Secrets of the Obscure. Okay, look, I will say I liked Janthea Wilds. I liked last year. Last year was good. I enjoyed playing it. There were a couple of iffy character beats, and Waiting Sorrow was not a character. Waiting Sorrow was a character full of potential that fell flat to me. I felt there were some dodgy character beats with his Garen, and you know there were some missing bits, namely about the Heart of the Obscure and stuff. Back to Waiting Sorrow, but overall, I really enjoyed last year. I enjoyed all the launch stuff. I enjoyed the first map, the second map for very different reasons. I'm talking purely about lore and story and exploration and stuff. I even enjoyed the Mount Burial patch, which I went into expecting very little story and actually kind of ended up having quite a lot of story. Last year was fine. It only started to fall apart a bit in the last two maps. That final release was a huge whiff, okay? But even in that final release, it was really only... I mean, I kind of want to say it was the very end that was a whiff. The Foundry instance and the handling of the final bosses. I think for most of the community that's true, but I think when we started to scrutinize the story, we found a lot of it was falling down. But you know, even then, the open world lore and all the notes and document pickups and stuff were fucking fantastic. Even still, in those two patches. So overall, I enjoyed Janthea Wilds more than I enjoyed End of Dragon. End of Dragons had like a budget and a quality to it that Janthea Wilds doesn't. But in terms strictly of world building and lore and stuff, I really enjoyed myself last year. So, you know, it's only really Secrets of the Obscure that let me down, I think, in a lot of ways. But again, it had its strengths. It did have its strengths, again, with the open world pickups and certain elements there. So, anyway, let's jump in. Let's see what we got. We do have a Q&A section, which we'll be doing in a second. I want to give you guys a bit of a recap of what I've been doing over the past 24 hours, which, as it turns out, is not much. I haven't had much time, really, to play Guild Wars, but I did hit my goals. I did hit my objectives. So, if you look at my pinned achievements...
This place is pretty incredible. Think Newt would ever host the Great Hunt out here?
Oh,
Seems like a good way to feed a lot of naive young hunters directly into the mouths of these beasts. So yeah, he'd probably go for it.
So I've done all the hearts and stuff. Was it last night I played a bit more on the Paragon? I think my third story playthrough is probably dead. Kerry's moved on to Digimon. So yeah, I think we might not be going too much further with that. But you know, the Paragon's pretty far. You know, he's on the next map. Anyway, so for pin stuff, I didn't do any more skimmer seafaring. Had no time for that at all, which is funny because that was the thing I thought I'd end up doing a lot of. But what I have done is for the Starlit Weld. Remember, here's the main thing. The final mastery point is from getting this jacket. The jacket is from doing all of the mastery achievement here. 36 achievements. I have put us to 35. At the end of the last episode, I was at 30. So what did I do? I went to the Choya area, where the Great Choya race is here. And, you know, there's the event where they dance around the campfire. And you've got to mimic their movements. If you get 20 of them, total lifetime, you get an achievement. So that was one of them. There's also another achievement, which is while transformed into a Choya there, if you run over to the nearby campfire and dance with the chef, you get an achievement. And the Great Choya Race itself, the event version of it that plays in the open world, if you come first in that, then you also get an achievement. And you might think, oh, that one sounds a bit harder. It wasn't. I did the meta yesterday, and I actually tagged... It's always so funny, right? Like, in terms of... Oh, this is basically just a humble brag. I can't even get around it. When I run a lot of metas, I tag up a lot. I run raid groups. I do things like pugs, right? I do pug a lot of things. And I don't get... So, like, quite often I'll log into Guild Wars and someone will drop me a message and say, hi, I like the videos or whatever. And that's always lovely, right? And I always appreciate it. When I'm live, I can't really respond to people. But, you know, if I tag up or something in the open world, it doesn't affect that in any way. Unless it's on lists. On lists... Like, it's so weird. Like, I don't know. I feel like I should make my main character just called WoodenPotatoes and see where that goes. I never have done that before. I have it on the account. But anyway, yeah, so I happened to tag up on lists. And, like, I was getting a lot of people saying, oh, hi. I was like, oh, God, I hope this actually goes well. I didn't do anything for the commanding, by the way. I didn't split people into subs. I didn't do anything. I just stood... So, like, they have to spread out, right? I just stood in the middle. And this is why I was a bit insecure, because I thought people would think, oh, that's WP and he's a shit commander. But no, I fully believe that people go too far with that stuff. I just stood in the middle, and what does that mean? I'm basically AFK, so all the other 50 players have to think for themselves, well, where do I go? So they look for themselves, and they realise, oh, this boss is low, this one isn't, this one's high. And everyone just split up perfectly. I did nothing. So, by the way, I wasn't AFK the whole time. I was AFK for maybe the first 30 seconds. But I wasn't even AFK. I just waited for the first 30 seconds so that people would make their own decision. And then I brought the tag to whatever the highest health thing was. And it worked out fine, right? No coordination necessary. What I was trying... So there's another achievement here, which is to grab a bunch of orbs. And I don't have that yet. And then there's another one to actually be the one that kills the real Guildell during those, like, split phases. And I thought that would be simple enough because I thought I knew how the mechanic worked. But as it turns out, actually in the meta event, I have no fucking idea what's going on. Like, sometimes I'll kill one of the mini ones and they don't send the little projectiles telling me where to go. Sometimes they do, but I don't end up in the right place. I don't know. So I have not succeeded at that. But anyway, I beat the meta, and one of the reasons I'm telling you I beat the meta is because I got Extremis Token Shoulders, and I got an Extremis Token Leggings. So the leggings were from doing adventures, I guess. And this was from doing mirrors. Yeah, I did a mirror after the meta event as well. So I have 2 more Extremis tokens to collect. So we'll do that in a minute. Yeah, so... And then the last thing, I got my last achievement to get us to the 35. It was this, Ley-line Rider. I have to say, this is the hardest gold adventure I've ever seen in the game. Except maybe launch Heart of Thorns. This is not an easy gold. And I appreciate that. So my technique was to go down, then up. No, it was to reset. I hate this Ley-line mechanic, by the way. Especially at this adventure, like knowing whether it's toggled on or off. Really? Is anyone else finding that it's just like so annoying to toggle and stuff? I'd rather if we had an outline. So I grab 2, lift up for the 3rd, back down. This is like a really shitty Boots adventure video you're watching right now. Then I go in, and then my method was not to go all the way to the top and then down or whatever, and then down in one. I grabbed all of these. Jump to the next ley line. I make no promises I'm actually going to get this here, by the way. I'm almost definitely not going to. I try to avoid using the skill 2, the boost thing, because it culls your, like, turn radius so hard. It makes movement really difficult. So here, I should have got off of that a bit higher up, to be honest. But, like, so I probably fucked this here. So anyway, you want to get all of these, really, including that. Go down and grab this, and this one over here. I missed that there. Yeah, we ain't getting it. But I got that, then I went back onto this ley line. And then I just kind of See, look, I wasn't able to ride that because I toggled it off when I wanted it on. Ugh. Ugh, really? Ugh. Hard enough just to play it when you can sit and think, let alone trying to commentate the whole way through. But yeah, and my technique when I was up here was to stay central. I found any run I tried where I went really far. Like, why am I not on that ley line? I do have it toggled on right now. And I can't turn at any kind of speed because of the fucking skill 2 that I used. I just tried to stay as central as possible because, like, you get more pickups. These ones, like, far away kind of felt like a bit of a death sentence. I don't know. So there, you just saw me scrambling around, and I only got 32, 33. No, I missed that one as well. And you got to get 40. So it took me, like, a few runs. Anyway, I got to 44 in the end, and that was just before streaming here. I got to 44, and that was number 3 for today. Looking over at Lifetime, Boots has got 55. And you can't cheese this on a Sky Scale or something. It won't let you pick them up on Sky Scale. So he got 11 more than me. He is Lifetime number 1 for having picked up all 55. Anyway, so check out his channel and see how to do that for some real advice. So I got gold from getting 44. And so here we are in combat, by the way. A few cool things. Number 1, someone said, WP, I've been playing Relic of Rivers Catalyst. That's my open world go-to. And I said, oh, I don't really want to do that because I don't like dodging because it slows you down a lot. You can't attack while dodging unless you can. So I decided to go back to that idea, but just with Evasive Arcana, because why not, right? Like, if we're Celestial, we have a lot of burning. So maybe we can. And I've been having a lot of fun on it, like a huge amount of fun. I just make sure I dodge in Earth and Fire, because Fire gives me a lot of burns, and Earth gives me, you know, a blast, which is pretty nice. And yeah, just crazy fucking boons. Look at our boons. We just gave these to ourselves. Just absolutely nuts. I'm running it with Acidular Concentration, Relic of Rivers, not Pirate Queen, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. The other thing is Refect. So, you know, we're getting to the end of the series now, so I just want to sum up, you know, some of this stuff here. Talking about Venny's packs with Refect, as of the end of this series, or getting to the end of this series, he has finished his Relic pack. The Relic pack is done. He's got all kinds of brilliant information over on his GitHub. Check it out. You can actually toggle what interface size you're using as well. So you just come down here and, like, I use large interface, so I have this one enabled. But I could enable the normal if I want, or the small. So you don't have to mess with those. He's put so much work into this. It's absolutely fantastic. So relics are all done, which is amazing. He's also just... So he's working on the class pack now, the big bundle for the class pack. But one of the big things that I was talking about earlier was Spellbreaker's Insight over on Warrior. Catalyst has a similar thing, Elemental Empowerment. And again, so he's just released this. This is also very cool. So I'm using Interface Large. I just installed this. So I'm on a Catalyst. If you look, so on Catalyst, above my F5, you get that little bar. That's the vanilla UI, right? Which shows your energy, and it's quite small. But what he's done is he's given us a big bar, kind of like Shroud UI. And that's tracking Elemental Empowerment. You see this bar filling up as I do things? As I combo field, as I give myself auras? So there you go. So it's maxed out now. That means I have 10 Elemental Empowerment.
Getting healthy.
And I can now track. And just like with Spellbreaker's Insight, that's really fun. And it really feels very big and evident. It does feel a bit like this bar should be the energy bar and empowerment should... I don't know. Look, it's really good. I'm having a lot of fun with it. The other... And it's a lot more complex than that as well. If you run the Grandmaster trait Empowered Empowerment... This bar changes and glows at, like, max level. If you run the Aura trait, which is you gain extra damage when you give yourself auras, and I personally don't run this because it goes against the quickness. But if you run this, you get this whole extra element next to your F5 that shows as you're building your auras too. Look, so it all works. This is a lot of elements to juggle, a lot to figure out with the UI. There you go. So I now have maximum aura strength and I have maximum empowered empowerment. So I know that I'm at full capability with this right now. And then, of course, you could even run the GM too. But in that world, you really want someone else to be giving you boons. And it's more of a group-based build, and then if you're doing that, then why not play Evoker? Blah, 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 blah. Maybe you only own End of Dragons. What are you doing watching this series? That's a really cool skimmer. Okay, so yeah, there you go. Keep an eye on his stuff. Hopefully he has his big class pack out at some point. I doubt it'll be done before my Visions of Eternity LP's done, but perhaps by the time we return for the patch 1, it will be. And, you know, it will be quite cool and quite handy. Refect, you just have the 2 things. You just have a relic pack and his class pack. I think he has more ambitious designs after that to go more Final Fantasy style with it and, you know, bigger arty elements and stuff. I'm not entirely sure. Oh, there's a coconut here. We're actually near one of the Guildell rings then. So a ring of coconuts. I would expect it to be down on the sand near the beach or something. Let's see if we can see this anywhere. What is that? There's like a broken, fallen mirror on the floor there. That's very strange. No, I don't see a ring of coconuts around here. So we probably will finish this today, by the way, guys. There's only like 4 more for us to do. So getting this one will be a good start. Maybe it's at the foot of these big coconutty looking trees. No. Mark Eden became a channel sponsor. Thank you very much. And John Sellers. John is doing them so early. Okay. So, you know, if you guys get to the streams early, you'll get your memberships for free, really. Thank you, John. 10 memberships. That's so, so nice. He's doing it really, really, really early before, you know, before I have a chance to miss it. It's probably a good idea. Well, those aren't coconuts. Those are stones. Nor are they really in a ring shape. I mean, how far away from the initial pickup coconut might we have to go? Oh, Venny's there in chat. He says the pack is almost done. This was the last one. Well, Evoker is last, but I can't finish that one currently due to refect limitations. Yeah, and the base tool itself is getting updates and getting improvements and things. So, lots of exciting stuff going on. John Byers, yeah, because he's buying everyone their memberships. I'll talk a little bit more about memberships in a minute. I do have a Q&A section that I'm going to do. I don't know. This one's tough. I mean, just how small is the ring of coconuts? I'm expecting them to be fairly big and evident, but if they're really small, like that, you know. We could pull up a map, but so far I've been alright with all of these Guildell things, and I've enjoyed them. And it's been a fun little moment to actually look at the environment. Do they expect me to mount while holding the coconut? Am I suggesting the coconuts are migratory? Maybe. I mean, look, who am I to declare what is or is not true about these fictional cut coconuts in this fictional magical world, might I remind you? It's a magical world. If they want to have migratory coconuts, you know, they fall from the tree and they waddle off, then why not? In fact, can I just say, Arenanet, big miss, big thumbs down. You did the pineapple choya this year, but I think coconut choya would have been an excellent addition for a beach expansion. And I'm eternally disappointed. Sincerely disappointed. That's how I'll sign off that message. Get off your high horse, Richie. Yeah. That's a little Office reference for those of you who watch that show too much. Something I certainly can't relate to. See, this feels like... I don't know, guys. Am I fucking blind? This one feels brutally hard. I mean, how far do you want me to go? Moana would sue them. Were there talking, walking coconuts in Moana? Racking my brain. I loved that movie. I really did. I haven't seen it for ages, though. I tried watching Moana 2 more recently, but I didn't get very far into it. And I, Oh, I was going to talk about a movie yesterday. Oh, no, I did talk about it. Yeah, I have a weird thing with, like, modern Disney animated films where I really enjoyed the first few that they were doing. But once you've watched a couple, you realise, like, they reuse and farm out the same like character animations and facial expressions and just general movements over and over and over and over and over again. It's like, oh, Moana is moving just like Anna, or is moving just like who's the girl in Tangled? Rapunzel? And it's like, I don't know, it kind of takes the magic away a bit, you know. Oh shit, see, I can't pick up the coconut now that I've swapped maps. It's bugged. We have to go. Oh no, I hit exit to desktop. Oh, shit. Oh. Do you know what? I do that all the time. What I would like is the devs to implement a little option for me that moves exit to desktop further down, right? No, I feel bad about that reference. People were really, really, really hard on them during that time with the whole compact inventory thing. All right. Oh, shit. That's not the right thing. Spoilers. You weren't supposed to see that. Ignore that. Ignore that. Let's see the desktop. Oh, I don't use display capture. All right, there we go. We can pick it up again now. Is the light helping me? Oh, my God. It's ages away. The coconut. Oh, it was down by the beaches, though. Oh, or was it up there? Was it on this rock? Is that why I struggled? No, he's even further away than that. You've never used that menu to exit? Really? Wow, I use that all the time. Oh, here are the coconuts. Jesus Christ. I should have cast a wider net, I guess. I like how they have the 3 holes in them because they're like bowling balls, right? And it makes me wonder, does anyone actually go coconut bowling anywhere in Guild Wars 2? Do all coconut models in this game have the 3 holes on them? Actually, wait. Am I just being an idiot? Do all coconuts have 3 holes in them? Kind of like how all apples have stems.
Cooling down.
Right, is that where it was connected to the tree? No, I mean, I've had coconuts before. They don't have 3 holes in them. They don't have like 3 connections to the tree, do they? But I like the idea that that was like an activity once long ago that just never ended up happening. There's a Guildell. There you go. See, look, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 to do. 4 of those bad boys. Okay, let's go to our home, our player house, and let's do some sunbathing with some community commentary, because we've actually done 2 episodes now without some community commentary, and naturally what that means is I've missed out on a shit ton of your comments, and I'm really sorry about that. But I've gathered a good few here. And I promise not a single one is about whether Waiting Sorrow got the Gatto or the Victoria Sponge. Not a single one is about, they're just all on new topics. They're not all on lore topics either. There's quite the diaspora of different things. You use F12 for character slot and Alt F4 for closing. Oh my god, that's very nerdy. F12 for character select. That is not bound for me. F11 is options. And I've still got that as a holdover from GW1. Did you specifically bind that? Character select F12? F12 is my Steam screenshot key, so I'm usually a bit leery about pressing it. But obviously I don't play Guild Wars on Steam, so it's not really relevant most of the time.
Statistically speaking,
I got really into little screenshots and things over this year. And I'll tell you why. It's because I play a lot of like survival games, base building games. We were playing Necesse, Necesse. Do any of you guys know that game? It's kind of like, all right, imagine Core Keeper, if you've played that, crossed with RimWorld, I would say. Crossed with Terraria. Anyway, I was enjoying it, but I think the Discord group is getting a bit bored of games like that. But anyway, games like that where you build houses, you build bases, there's a real personal touch to them, you know? And like, if you don't take screenshots of them or make video series of them, which I don't, you know, you're just going to lose out. It's going to be gone forever. So I use like, I use Steam screenshots to upload them and keep them in loving memory, if you will, or whatever. So it's night time. I want it to be day. Let's quickly go over to the Castaway and make it day for this. Oh, here's the adventuring Choya. People did say he was here. Oh, look at his cute little backpack. Oh, and he's got a little badge with a fucking Choya on it. That is very cute. Oh my god. Wait, no, I want to speak to the Choya. Helpful assistant Choya. But I can't speak to him. Damn. So he's just here, is he? Oh, he's dancing. Okay. It's default. F12 pops up the menu to go to character select. It doesn't take you directly. So you mean this menu? This log out menu? This is actually, to be honest, right? So bad. This is such a holdover from Guild Wars 1. Where... And I think a lot of older MMOs, actually, where you did fully log out when you wanted to go to character select. Like, you'd have to re-input your password. You'd have to go through authentication, right? Like, it would... This effectively should say exit to main menu. But then in Guild Wars 2, it really does take you to character select when you click this. I mean, character select should really just have its own button on this, you know? For all the moves they made to be alt-friendly, that still feels like one of those things. You know, it's just one of those things that just doesn't get assessed, right? Okay, so here we go. You wanted comments? I'll give you comments. Okay, this is not actually a spoiler, by the way. This is just a screenshot I took last night. No, I'm not currently playing Final Fantasy VII. But there was a post on the FF sub, which was like, what is the cruelest thing in that entire franchise you can steal? And like someone had an example from 6 where you're recruiting Mog and you can steal the gold hairpin and just like let him fall or whatever. Check out my Let's Play on that. And, you know, like stealing Gil from old people that you don't need to and stuff. Anyway, someone said that this was an idea. Orthopedic underwear. I mean, what exactly is orthopedic underwear, dare I ask? But yeah, this is during the cross-dressing section with Cloud, right? Is it? Can you wear that before you go on your date or whatever? Anyway, all right. So some of these comments are long, some of them are short. This is a short one. Here's Ideka, who says, I don't know how long it will take, but I am working on a Nexus port of custom combat text. Yes! Oh, excellent. Very, very, very excited about that. Refect and custom combat text, the two horsemen of incredible customization of your combat experience. I'm really, really excited for that. Again, no timeline or anything, and I don't hold them to any kind of, you know, standard with that or whatever. It's on Blish. It's fantastic. It must be annoying as a dev to constantly have to port your shit over and over and over and over and over when what you want to do is pursue new ideas. But there you go. That's really exciting. Okay, Sanctus Obscurum. Awesome name, by the way. So, lists a timestamp about 2 hours into, I guess, yesterday's episode. I took the screenshot 4 hours ago. Or they dropped this comment 4 hours ago. When you discussed the cast, I had the same feeling. Oh, I think this is on the topic of, like, whether the cast feels like they fit in meaningfully. When you discussed the cast, I had the same feeling. However, I was fine with Saida and Kanak, given the pirate themes. What irked me was Ritlock. He just seems forced in. Given we went to Castora to pursue the inquest, I think we should have been accompanied by an Asura. Goric would have been perfect considering he set up a detective agency with Rama. I even would have been happy with a new character if they lore dropped about Asura and the inquest a lot. Okay, to round out my thoughts on this. Ritlock's a weird one, right? Because I love Ritlock, and Ritlock is a connection to the OG cast and means a lot, right? Like, so, like we had Kaith last year and we had Zoja the year before. I think what Arenanet's kind of doing is they're saying, let's have a little of the old and let's have a little new. And I do think that's important. I think that there are a lot of players that feel some enjoyment with those older cast members that would feel completely disconnected from the story if they weren't there. If it was entirely just like new faces, they would disconnect. So I think Ritlock, and I feel that. It's superficial, and it's shallow, and it's empty, and it shouldn't really matter, but I feel that. So I like Ritlock. I like Ritlock being on screen, and so I'm happy they picked him. So what I think really is happening here is I wish they had found a tighter reason for Ritlock to engage with this story, right? So far, what's his role been? He's talked a lot of common sense, and as we've mentioned in one of these Q&A things before, there's kind of this sense that he's had characters around him who have thirsted for power, and he can kind of reflect on that, right? through the Icebrood saga. But to me, that's still a bit thin, right? I kind of want a bit more. And what I think it really comes down to, I've mentioned this a couple of times, and I'll stick my heels into the sand with this again. I think it's about Sahothin for me. Like, I really, if he was having a lot of back and forth with Isgarin, if he was very like iffy about Isgarin, and they butted heads over the sword, I think that would have been really fun, and I think that would have really made Ritlock come alive this year. But it wasn't ever mentioned, and I think that was a dropped ball. Saida, I think, would have come more alive if there was a bit more content around the Hole Gardeners. And to that, maybe you just have to say it is what it is. They can only do so much. I don't know. Canuck's been a lot of fun. Yeah, I don't know. But then there is this guy. Gorick was so perfect for this X-Pack. Gorick was so perfect. And it is a bit of a funny thing where it's like, okay, so will Gorick come in the next patches? Why not have him here initially? Because we've already missed a lot of good moments with him. And when I look at last year with Janthir Wilds, you look at characters like Kaith and Malice, and they just sort of drifted out of the picture. So, I don't know. Will that happen to Ritlock now? Is Ritlock just going to kind of fade away, a bit like how Kaith faded away last year? Next, we've got Hardy, who says, late to the party because my weekend has been a lot. But I wonder if they're going to go the same route with side quests as they did in Janthir. Obviously, some of the side quests in Janthir tied into the main plot. And we're talking specifically about the 3 White Mantle there. I wonder if this woman who was looking into the Branded will be tied into the main story somehow. She was looking into the Branded, she went to Ore, and presumably some mist explosion shot her to Castora. We know Ore is tied to the gods, possibly even the Seers. This story, Visions of Eternity, seems to be dealing with godhood and the whole process of individuals ascending. We also know Ascension of many kinds will affect your memory. That part stood out to me. Not that I was overly satisfied with how the Janthir White Mantle tied into the end of Janthir. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, I love that theory. That's a great thought. That did not occur to me at all yesterday. That this stuff of her exploring Ore and whatever might end up main story. But it's possible, isn't it? But the thing is, yeah, the White Mantle element of the Foundry was easily one of the weakest parts of the entire plot last year. And is that because they thought you knew more than you knew? Because it was side quest stuff? Like, even for me, as a player who did everything, it felt iffy. So, I don't know. Would that be a positive thing or a negative thing? I know it feels so empty as a plot. It feels like they're setting up more with it. Of course, there's the possibility, and this is what I thought they would do last year, that you would get a story patch and more side quests in it, you know? Like Castoran culture is a thing. Why can't we just have her story continue within culture? It's not main quest, but it can continue. That I would have liked. It's like last year, that heist story. I thought we were going to get a continuation to the heist story in the Mount Barrier patch, and we didn't in the end. And then not the one after, or the one after, or the one after. So I guess it just depends what they have in the scope. Now, if I remember rightly, what did the game director say of this year? That it was a bit bigger and it was a bit meatier, but was that specifically with the later patches or just launch? I think it was specifically with the later patches, wasn't it? So who knows? Emily says the last location is bizarre, and this is for that Branded quest. Surely that should have been the entrance to Arar, or at a push to the Altar of Murdered Dreams. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? And it's like, okay, do you have absolute unwavering confidence that they know 100% what they're doing? Because if you do, then we could really dig in and say, oh, why is it this area? Ooh, and go big with it. But if you don't have that confidence, then it's just like, yeah, they picked a random spot when they could have picked a better one. A weird part of me wonders if they designed it to be the Artesian Waters and then realized the door to the actual waters was closed. So then freaked out and picked somewhere else. Almost random, but I don't know. I don't give them that little credit. I don't know. Why did they pick that spot? The best thing would have been to let us go through the door, right? Like, you can press F on the door and it teleports you through, and for the first time we can explore a little bit more of Ore. It would have been really fun as well, because that chamber kind of has two different states. It has the state that it's in when you're fighting the boss, and then it has the state that it's in during the credits, where all the roots and things have grown everywhere. And it might be nice to see that, you know, like if you've beaten the personal story, you see all the roots everywhere. Jana Kid says, hey WP, I'm not sure if this comment is to... Oh, okay, so yeah, we have a variety of topics. Moving on from the lore. Hey WP, not sure if this comment leans too much into the parasocial relationship direction. Uh-oh. Look, on that note, guys, I get it. We've got a parasocial thing going on here. We do. You know, I can't change that, and I profit off of that, right? Why are you on my Patreon? It's because of this parasocial thing, really, on some level, and I hope you guys do go. So look, I'm not going to pretend we don't have one. I just think it's something everyone should be aware of, right? You should be aware that your relationship with me or any content creator is not like a normal one. You know, it's very easy to... And I know it's like most of us are adults, we're in our 30s, nobody needs to be told that. But then I see shit online all the time where it's like people are clearly slipping, or I don't know, like people are falling in love with chatbots and stuff, right? We do live in that reality. So, I don't know, it's just bears saying sometimes. Anyway, but since you brought up in the video yourself, I'm going to say it. Please get your kidneys checked out. They are not supposed to hurt in your 30s. Some people would avoid checkups because they're afraid to get confirmation that something is wrong. But sooner it is found, the easier it is to treat it. If I'm overstepping, feel free to disregard the comment. Guys, do not worry, okay? My kidneys are generally fine. I will... Okay, no, let me rephrase that. Don't worry, I am going to the doctors. Don't worry. But look, basically, I had a bit of backache about a month ago that I'm pretty sure was kidney ache. That's completely gone now. And I thought I could maybe feel it bubbling up again after running in circles and crouching down and standing up and crouching down a bunch for, like, you know, however long I was playing Phasmophobia the other day. But don't worry. Look, it is something I will talk to the doctor about. Do not worry. Do not worry. Yeah, I'm not scared of getting bad news or whatever, and I know a lot of people are like that, but don't worry, that's not me. So here's a big thing. Moving on, RPG Crash. These add-ons feel a lot like cheating to me. 9 thumbs up. You know, I agree. What I want to say is this, right? I remember years ago, before Blishud, before Nexus, before... What was it called? Was it called Taco? I think even before Taco, or around when Taco came out, okay, there was a thing, it was like Taco adjacent. Does anyone remember the name of it? But the whole point of it was this pathing thing, just like you get, where they draw the paths around. But it was for world completion, because this was like around Season 1 or something. And world completion was still one of the main things you did. You know, raids weren't in the game. Crafting legendaries and doing world comp. That's what Guild Wars 2 endgame looked like. And the game got a lot of criticism at the time for that. A lot of people filtered out for that because then the patches themselves weren't satisfying. So someone made this thing, and you would just follow the paths, and it would give you map completion to follow the paths. And I remember talking about it on a video, and I remember fury from the internet. Fury! As much as real fury exists. A lot of people were absolutely outraged, aghast at such a thing could exist, that you would have a line. How dare people just follow a line and get world comp? And it's interesting to me that none of those voices are in the conversation anymore. Did they just not care? Did they leave the community? So that's one thing I just want to identify. It feels like the community is moving. You know, maybe not just the Guild Wars community, but maybe it's the way internet communities tackle live service games. You know, even when Guild Wars 2 came out, this idea of a game you'd play for 10 years was still a bit crazy and a bit novel, not something everyone was experiencing, you know. Now, we are in a very different world now, you know, like when I was growing up, a game would last maybe a year, and a sequel would come out the next year, and then the next year. The idea... And games as a platform as well, like home video games, was also very new, right? It only really just resurged by the very end of the 80s. And now we live in a different world. Now it's 2025. Welcome to the future, bitches. We're here. And look, it's not odd to be playing the same game for 20 years. There are people still playing RuneScape, right? And yeah, you know, you got people in some of the older MMOs that have even gone even longer than that. But it's becoming more and more normal. People will be playing Overwatch 10 years in a row. They will be playing Hearthstone 10 years in a row. They will be playing Marvel Rivals 10 years in a row. They will be playing PUBG 10 years in a row. Not just 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. And so, like, what I'm trying to get at is that these very long-term mindsets, we kind of end up, like, very late stage in the communities, and we think about things very differently. So, like, I can sort of get why someone would be aghast about the world comp thing, but the debate that happened, just to talk about the world completion add-on and how offensive that was to people back then. Even back then, there was a bit of a debate, and it was like, and here's something where the debate went, right? And it was, okay, on what grounds are you angry about this? Because I've played a lot of the game, right? Now, back then, that was only the hyper nerds with no life that put too many hours in too quickly. But what I'm trying to express is lots of us are in that position now because we've had 10 years to get to that position, right? We're all on a sliding scale to eventually get there. And with these long-form games, we will get there eventually, right? So the argument from the hyper nerds at the time was, I've already done World Comp fucking 7 times. On what grounds are you telling me I can't use this tool to do it again? Because I'm not doing World Comp for immersion anymore. I'm not. There's not skill in World Comp. It's nothing but tedium. I'm doing it for the reward. I'm tackling the product in a very different way to you, right? This add-on, this is not putting it in front of new players who are all just going to follow the line, and it's going to kill all immersion from the game. This is something that people can opt into later once they feel they've passed that game phase. That immersive, explorative, wow, everything's novel and everything's special and very exciting feel you get from your first 1, 2, maybe 3 world comps is not something people are experiencing anymore. And so, let them use the add-on, all right? You have no grounds to be angry about this. You can call it a cheat, but is it a cheat when really all it's doing is removing, like, frustration for me as a player? Because what am I cheating? It's not hard to go and brainlessly fucking zerg from heart to heart to heart in Queensdale. And it's like a barrier to, oh, but I want to just get it done with. You're like telling me my experience has to be one thing or another. So, look, I'm not articulating these arguments very well off the cuff in a live environment here, but I think there is something to that. Like, once you become a late-stage player, your enjoyment shifts, and things that you think matter don't matter anymore. Okay, so let's branch that conversation ever so slightly to the new player experience that came in during Season 1. One thing I never liked about the new player experience, and I'm still iffy about, is the in-game content guide. Let's leave the homestead. I thought that this debased the experience. And if this debased the experience, then certainly so do all the add-ons, right? Here I am, on my Troubadour. Turn the content guide on to default. And look, I get just a little... It's not as aggressive as a line, just having me run around. But I have a little compass always telling me where to go, right? If I want to do map comp, I just disable personal story, right? Or I disable personal story and events. And I'm just sort of zerging around here. And so one argument we can make is, well, look, these add-ons are clearly not a problem because the game itself is essentially saying, yeah, just go charge around. Like, all I have to... What is the gameplay right now? My eyes are just fixed where the cursor is. That's it. And then every now and then I look away and I'm like, okay, I've got to climb a cliff. All right. I'm not looking at the map. I'm not reading the environment. I'm not actually looking for NPCs or anything. There's nothing immersive about this. There's nothing novel about this. It's just zerging around. Now, when this came in with a new player experience, I did not like this feature. And to this day, I don't really like this feature. Because there is a magic to Quarteria where you don't use this. Don't use add-ons. Don't just zerg around. Like, actually be immersed and play it like an RPG. Play it like you would play Dragon Age Origins or Baldur's Gate 3 or whatever, I don't know, whatever other big fancy RPG you like where exploring the map for the first time is a big part of the enjoyment. Go on an adventure. This is not going on an adventure following the content guide like this. But clearly the studio themselves... So when this came in with Season 1, I was really upset. It was like, fuck. And here's why I was upset. Because this is native. And in fact, the default behavior is to turn this on. So this is like pushing the entire experience for every player. Anyone who comes into Guild Wars 2, they're just kind of following the arrow. And it's like, where's the love? Where's the magic there? And it's also just that focus on map comp, which I never really believed there. I'll tell you guys something. In the alphas for Guild Wars 2, when I first got into it, before the press betas, points of interest did not appear on the map. POIs were like super hidden. And my first experiences of playing Guild Wars 2... Well, no, not my first experiences. My first experiences were at the conventions. But was not to have POIs in the world. And, like, map completion was seen as a nerdy endgame thing. Like, it wasn't part and parcel of the experience. But at some point, we changed that and we said it is a part of the experience that everyone is kind of expected to do. And we're just going to make you move around following the markers. And there is something dead about it, you know, and something I still don't like. So, to me, it's this thing where it's like, okay, it's these add-ons. Players kind of have to jump through a lot of hoops. So that makes it okay. I don't know whether I agree with that, though, because a lot of my other commentary you've just heard me give throughout Visions of Eternity is that it's dodgy to have all these really powerful add-ons that you have to jump a load of hoops through. It's shit or get off the pot is what I was saying, right? Like, they should be a part of the game that we fully endorse or not. And the truth is, would I really endorse all of those lines and things and the pathing, if it was a fully integrated part of the game? Isn't that just killing the game even more? Isn't that killing the spirit of it? Don't all my arguments against the content guide totally apply? So I don't really know how I feel. Look, you say here these add-ons feel like cheating. It's a complicated topic. I know that I've been having some novel... So the final thing is this, okay? Is wiki gaming fun? Because this is the other thing, right? A lot of Guild Wars 2's content, a lot of what we're going to watch in this video coming up very soon, it's sloppily made. All right, there you go. I'm using the word slop without it being in regard to AI. Let's be honest. I don't know. I do believe in achievements where you're hunting for needles in haystacks, right? So when Lion's Arch got remade, the homestead sort of sucks because I can't mouse over things. But when Lion's Arch got remade, you remember the Karka, hunting for all the Karka, shooting all the Karka with the rifles? That shit was fun. That was really fun for me to actually do in-game, no wiki, no outside assistance, to play it co-op, to listen to where the Karka were in the audio, and actually, like I was so immersed in the city of Lion's Arch for that. And I had so much fun. It was fucking awesome. So I like achievements like that. I had a similar experience on Ember Bay when they put all those Massart tokens everywhere, in all those caves around all the waters. Absolutely fantastic. I do believe in that format of achievement. However, Guild Wars does it all the time, and I don't... Okay, so a lot of the past, like, 5 episodes of this Let's Play, I'm not having fun, really, when I'm sitting here trying to keep the pace up, trying to do a show, but I can't find the fucking ring of coconuts, right? And the Guildell stuff, by and large, I've actually been enjoying because it has been looking at the environment. Most of those objectives have been good. But a lot of these where you're like really reading a clue and the clue is very vague and I don't really know what they're asking of me, it's not fun, really. And I sort of feel like there's an expectation people will wiki it, especially when you're looking at an always online game, right? This isn't just like a long-term live service game. If you're playing Guild Wars, you are online. You have access to the wiki. So we're in this weird design space where they expect you to go to the wiki. And when we're in this world where they expect you to go to the wiki, and the game kind of is more fun to go to the wiki, what's the harm in integrating it into the client itself? Is it cheating? Is it cheating? You know, like, I'm at an advantage going to the wiki because I know the console command, which is not taught to new players, and because I have 2 monitors. Not everyone has 2 monitors. Right? And I can pull it up on another screen and I can look around. It's like, what's the gameplay there when we're playing it this way? Like, there's something broken, right? But I would say that just the fundamental experience isn't that fun. And do we really resent people for... Like, if we were in a... What am I trying to articulate here? I'm trying to say that if we're in a world where people are going to the wiki anyway, which we are, is it that much worse to put it on the client? It's tough to talk about as well, because you do have to be a bit case by case with this. Like, look at Tribulation Mode. What do we think about Tribulation Mode? Tribulation Mode was epically fun to discover for yourself. It was unendingly frustrating. It was a huge time sink. It was fucking brutal, but it was a real experience. It was a moment that will stand out. It was gaming. It was actually playing a game. It was me understanding what Tribulation Mode was looking for and saying it was like this sadist experience and indulging in that. And yeah, that's not for everyone, but for those who have the patience to broaden their horizons and give it a go, I think we all got a lot out of that. But then there are marker packs now where a lot of people have skipped that completely because they just want the bauble bubbles. I just want the daily reward from the bauble bubbles. I'm going to use... And I every year, I use Blish, and next year I'll be using Nexus, Timey HUD. I use these because I don't want to do that without... I don't want to struggle every fucking day trying to get the trib thing. I would rather just put the markers on. I had my big experience. I had my immersive experience. I had that original run. And now I'm happy to use the markers. So am I cheating when I use those? Or is it okay because, it's just Tribulation Mode? But then you get a lot of money and... I don't know. There's no one-size-fits-all answer to this. All I do know is that I want Arenanet to make some claims about it and be clear where they stand. And that's just pathing. When it comes to other things, like timer packs that are solving mechanics for you in raids and shit, like, I think we start to have a problem there. Because, look, what's happening whenever this MMO releases an expansion, when it appeals to nerds and says, hey, please play our game, some nerds respond and say, no, I'm only going to play your game if you have difficult content for me. All right? I want raiding. I want difficult, high-end stuff. You didn't give me dungeons, so I want raids, and I want fractals. I want challenge mode fractals. Now, if those nerds end up being forced to use a bunch of add-ons that solve the experiences for them so they don't get that experience anyway, well, now the game isn't servicing them, right? And I think that when we go long-term enough, that's what's just happened with WoW, and Blizzard have just put their foot down. Or has been happening with WoW. I don't know. It's a fun thing to talk about. Is it cheating? Let me throw that back at you guys. I've got no idea. That's just a screenshot, a comment highlight. Look at this, guys. Someone was watching the Guild Wars 1 dungeon series. I fucking love this. Can I just tell you guys how much I love getting comments on old videos? Holy shit. But this guy was watching the Guild Wars 1 dungeon series I did. That was before GW2 even came out. And apparently in it, I predicted Jormag v Primordus. I'm not going to claim that as some big prediction, because, I mean, come on. Fire versus Ice was obviously pretty easy for us to all imagine. Right, Segment here. Dropped a bunch of comments. By the way, many of which were dubious. Here's one of their dubious comments. Arenanet getting lenient on add-ons is another indication that Guild Wars 2 is soon to be put on sidetrack because Guild Wars 3 is coming. Same happened with Guild Wars 1. I fucking hate this. When someone says something that's not true, but they use it in like a short statico sentence with a full stop, as though to present it confidently. I see your bullshit, Segment. This is horse shit. You're not right. First of all, what do you mean another indication Guild Wars 2 is soon to be put on sidetrack? Okay, I cover this game. I follow it very closely. I would not say there are indications it's to be put on sidetrack. Maybe there are indications for a Guild Wars 3, but that is not the same thing as Guild Wars 2 being put on sidetrack. So far, the main stuff we have is a commitment from them to stick with Guild Wars 2. And not just for a couple of years of mini X-Packs, but full stop. Those are the indications. So I disagree with the entire thrust of this. And the only example you appear to have tried to give is that the same thing happened with Guild Wars 1. And that is not true. Guild Wars, they were lenient-ish with add-ons through Guild Wars 1's heyday, specifically text mod, where people would change the skins of their UIs, or they would use it to help them with cartography, and that was about as far as it got. Once Guild Wars 1 was done, and we were in Guild Wars 2, Toolbox started becoming a thing. Toolbox was not a big thing while we were working on our Hall of Monuments in the pre-release for Guild Wars 2. Toolbox was post-launch, and I actually went to Google Trends and looked at this, by the way. And, you know, I actually lived through and played that fucking stuff. And once Toolbox started getting, like, flaring up and actually had quite a community and became sophisticated, I did a video about Toolbox after Guild Wars 2 came out, somewhere around 2012, 2013. And I specifically asked, can I put this video up? And they said no. They said, no, we don't want to promote this. No, we don't like the idea of this. That's into Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 2 was out, and they were still very cautious about add-on stuff with Guild Wars 1. So, like, on no level is this correct. It didn't happen. This is one of those things, right? I see this all the fucking time with the internet, where it sort of seems like it makes sense. The timeline feels like it's there, and people will just say shit. And this happens all over the place in all communities, right? Like, I find it, like, if you read a book that came out a long time ago, and you read, like, the subreddit about the book, so many people will just, like, write things that's the gist of what they feel happened. It's not what actually happened, though. It's not actually how the characters acted. It's not actually how it was paced. It's not how it was actually plotted. You've just sort of, like, come to the conclusion in retrospect, and yet you're still in the conversation. That's not what happened with Guild Wars 1 add-ons. Yes, it's true that they're lenient with Guild Wars 1 add-ons today, but that's actually quite a new thing over the past 5 years or so. Less than that, even. There was a hell of a lot of Guild Wars 2 before that. So, no. And I don't see the indications that they're about to sidetrack Guild Wars 2. All I see so far from official company communication is that that's not the case. And to suggest otherwise is to point a finger at them and call them barefaced liars. And I'm not doing that. So, yeah. Next, and there were several dubious comments, but that was the big one for me. Next, moving on. Awesome to Boresome. Important context to Zin. Hold on, let me crack open a cold one with you guys. You guys are the boys right now. Orange, zero sugar Fanta this time. Important context to add to Zin. He's dissecting a seer, but he cannot finish his research before the White Mantle attack LA. I forgot that detail. He didn't finish. He mentions he wasn't able to finish Olivia when she orders him to move out and prepare for the attack. During the attack on LA, we get a golem bombardment, but we don't get anything more. Oh, I remember. They add this as a bit of jeopardy, right? To the final attack. He isn't able to finish his research. Why is that important? Well, it could be very well possible, by the way, that Zin didn't murder the seer. But he let Livia do the dirty work. Technically, the wording leaves room for them finding a seer that's about to die anyway. But that's unlikely given their character. He likely wrote that diary entry with the end goal in mind before things got complicated. Okay, the thing that I love about this, the thing that's really awesome here, is Livia was there. I haven't even talked about that fact. And Livia is a character in the story right fucking now. In fact, Livia was there in the Lion's Arch scenes and shit, and has been talking to Isgarin. Wouldn't it be interesting to see the two reflect on that event? I'd like to see that. It almost feels a bit plot holey that they haven't, actually. That probably could have appeared in Secrets of the Obscure when we first saw Livia's connection with these guys. Or last year when she was in scenes with Isgarin. It's funny to think, though, the next time we see Livia, she might suddenly have accelerated her aging. She might be like an old lady. Okay, Xenon says, I know this is probably nitpicky, but I get a bit annoyed with how Arenanet seem to keep Revenant lore consistent. I think he means inconsistent. When Revenant were first introduced, the idea was that they channeled echoes of legendary heroes and villains from Tyria's past. Then End of Dragons came out, and the Vindicator lore suddenly implied we were channeling fully dead spirits instead. The Vindicator NPC literally uses the word spirits for Archimedes and St. Victor, and the unique legend dialogue says that they found each other in the mists after dying. That's a nice little detail, isn't it? That's quite sweet. Now, with Visions of Eternity, that shift seems even more solid. The Conduit NPC says, well, the other day I connected with something, not an echo or a ghost. No, something different. So apparently, it's now just normal for Revenants to connect with... It's not normal for Revenants to connect with spirits now, but we're also connecting with living beings like Raza? Where's the line supposed to be? What even is a Revenant at this point? I think what bothers me most is that this inconsistency feels like a smaller example of how much Arenanet struggles to keep the Mist and Afterlife separate. When you die, you're supposed to go to an afterlife in the Mist, but the Mists are also echoes of reality, and you can travel back to Tyria from them, and Revenants can still channel you, and so on. It kind of ruins the whole concept of death for me. You know, I've never felt annoyed by any of this, but I think you're right. I can appreciate a fellow lore nerd nitpicking, and, you know, go get them, yeah. I don't really feel this too strongly. I think basically the Revenant as a concept is shit. I think it's over-designed mess, basically. Here's what I think should have happened. Heart of Thorns is coming out, and they should have said, oh, shit, we want a Death Knight. Yeah, let's do it. Oh, man, let's make Ritlock the Death Knight. Like, because he's kind of dead at the moment in the Mists, right? We'll have Ritlock come back. It'll be a big moment, and he's the Death Knight. And then someone else in the meeting says, oh, call it the Revenant. Because we're going to be like Ritlock, and Ritlock came back from the dead, and oh, that's a good name, isn't it? Yeah, let's do it. And then they should have made a fairly bog-standard class after that. And mwah, beautiful, you've got it, you've nailed it. But instead, they had all this crazy channeling legends shit in there, which I don't think has ever really worked. And why is this weird and vague? It's because the very original thing they came out with is weird and vague. Like, let's go back to your first sentence. Sorry, second sentence. I know this is nitpicky, I get annoyed. When Revenants were first introduced, the idea was that they channeled echoes of legendary heroes and villains. Well, okay, you say that like that means something. That doesn't mean anything already. Like, what even was that? You know, like, am I actually communing with Glint? Can I talk to Glint about the Flameseeker prophecies and all this shit during POF? No, we have to, like, go do a bunch of shit. It's weird. And it steps on the toes of Necro, and especially now that we have the Ritualist. And Energy didn't... Their version of Energy didn't work from a mechanic standpoint. Like, fuck Revenant. Like, I get the idea of toggling weapon skills might be fun, but look, all of that shit should have gone in the bin. And they should have just had a generic Dark Knight-y thing, and all their elite specializations should have been various forms of edgy bullshit, but they just kept over-designing it, and then eventually someone else spoke up in the room and said, oh, but what if I want my Revenant to be happy and nice? And they're like, oh, that's important too, yeah, okay, let's make sure we account for that, and blah, 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 blah. Revenant sucks. They took what could have been a cool thing, and they diluted it to that. Okay, and let me just have a massive disclaimer. Let me draw a big circle around everything I just said there, and specify in my opinion, alright? Okay, that's just my opinion. That's my take on it, alright? If you love the Revenant, I'm not trying to take that away from you. I'm not too hot on it, really. And it makes sense to me that it became a mess over time. And yeah, the Mists are a mess too. The Mists should have been, like, something we barely ever see or touch on. And they made this mistake immediately in Guild Wars 1. Like, we should never really have been fucking about with the Mists. Never. They're interesting as, like, a function of the world building, but they need to always be far, far away in the back of the mind. But they messed that up in Guild Wars 1, and then they messed it up even further as Guild Wars 2's gone along, because they kept resorting to them, because they kept going big, because their character writing isn't very good, because they're not very good at small-scale stuff. And, yeah, well, okay, maybe Elder Dragons. I don't know. There's just huge storylines that they've done, like Kralkatorrik eating the Mists, that last maybe a third of one patch, that it's just a bit of a head-scratcher to me. All right, moving on. Sky Gradient 6248 says, Arenanet needs to be careful not to exclude low-spec machines from their new project. As the economy tanks due to many factors, making a new game that requires more than 3 gigabytes of VRAM would be a massive mistake. They should go out of their way to make sure it runs on native old native on old hardware, because people just can't afford new stuff anymore. The fact you can play World of Warcraft on a mini PC just fine is a major reason for their success even today. I agree completely. Optimization and shit that runs well is has always been extremely important. Guild Wars 2's launch is at a really, really awkward time where, like, it doesn't really utilize new cards well enough, and it doesn't really utilize modern CPUs well enough. A Guild Wars 3 that can actually look at modern hardware and utilize modern hardware is going to be fantastic. Because they will gain so much for performance. And yeah, just push the graphics a little bit. At the same time, people don't tend to get very excited unless things look good. I don't know. What it really comes down to is scalability of the experience, right? And I think that's obviously the really hard thing. If I have a really beefy, insane PC because I'm a loser and I spent all my last 3 paychecks on all of it, you know, I want to have, you know, the Unreal Oblivion remaster experience. But if I'm on a 1080 still or whatever, right? It would be nice if those graphics options, when I lower them, they really do work to give me my frames back, and it doesn't look like shit. Now that's very difficult to pull off, right? To have a consistent art style across both ideas and all of that. But if they can do it, obviously yes. And the priority will be this, because they want to get as many people running as possible. On that note, by the way, a huge topic I haven't talked about, but I've been very into, and has been a big part of my internet reading the past couple of days, is for those watching this way off in the future, you might not realize this, but what, 4 episodes ago, there was a big hardware announcement from Valve. Valve announced that, you know, they did the Steam Deck. They've got their whole own OS, you know, in case Microsoft gets really nasty with them. So they've got Steam OS and all that they've worked on. And the fruits of their labors are all coming true now. So there's the Steam Deck, and they've announced 3 new devices to join the Valve family of hardware. Taking everything that they've learned from the old Steam controller, from the old Index. So you now there's a new Steam controller. There is a Steam Machine, is basically a PC, like a mid-level PC that you know, runs Steam OS and connects with everything and can get a lot of people into good games. And then finally, there is a new head-mounted display. Finally, a new virtual reality headset from Valve. Now, I skipped the Index last time, and I already own a Quest 3, okay? Because the Quest 3 is so cheap and stuff. I am really, really excited about the Steam Frame. There's currently... It's amazing, guys. Honestly, go read about fucking the Quest 3 versus the Steam Frame these days. The nerds and the things that they're talking about. The console wars. The juvenile, teenage-level console wars of aggravation and kids fighting over what hardware is better and why... And it's this thing, I've discussed this before, but basically when you get a consumer to spend a lot of money on a product, they become a fanboy for it. It's very, very difficult to... Because nobody wants to spend $500 on a Quest 3 and then acknowledge that they made a mistake, right? And, you know, there are upsides and downsides. You know, there's not full color pass-through, basically, on the Steam Frame. But fuck all that. I don't care about that. Honestly, and I did a tweet on Blue Sky about this. I was actually a little bit sad about it because, like, it got very, very little, like, response or reaction, and I realized that as soon as I'm not talking about Guild Wars, no one really gives a shit about my opinion. Which is fine, alright, which is fair. But, the most annoying... So I've owned all of Meta's headsets, really. Like, I was kind of from the Oculus side of things. And I tell you guys, it's so fucking annoying. And the biggest thing that stops me playing more VR games, there's 2 things. One is just, it never just fucking works, right? I play PC VR. I want big, good experiences. I want to play my Steam library on the headset. So I have to do Steam Link, or I have to buy virtual desktop, or I have to, you know, run the Quest Games tweaker. And oh no, now my router isn't working, and oh no, now they're asking me to sign into this, and oh no, now they're asking me to sign into this, but I don't have the password for this, so I've got to reset the password. So now they want to text my mobile, and now I've got to... This service wants to text my mobile, and now this is authenticating through this thing, and this, and this, and this, and this, and now it needs to fucking update, and all the controllers are out of battery, and oh, the headset itself has just ran out of battery, and oh, now my Steam VR version is out of date. It's so... annoying. All right, so like I was setting up Halo Combat Evolved VR about a month ago, right? I was really excited about it. The amount of shit that I had to go through to set it up, only to find that in the end it was like a flickery, annoying mess. Fuck sake, so annoying. That kills VR for me. It really does. What I want is a headset that I just put it on and I'm in Steam VR. That is it, right? And I don't want it to be really annoying and intrusive with updates over the years. I don't want them to keep fucking with and changing the UI. I don't want it to randomly slow down. I don't want the hand tracking to work randomly some days. Stop working randomly some days. It's a pain in the arse. So if I can go all one manufacturer, all the same company, all the same software pipeline, and they themselves are telling me, yes, this is just a streaming first thing, you just put it on and it works. If I can put this goddamn Steam frame on and I'm in Steam VR and I'm not having to mess with a bunch of things, or when I am messing with things, it's through that one user interface, it's going to be brilliant. There's a real problem with VR enthusiasts these days, which is that they're enthusiasts. I actually wonder about myself with Guild Wars with this a lot, okay? So they're all talking about how, oh, it's comfortable enough, you just have to buy this head strap. Oh, it's good enough, you just have to buy this Wi-Fi 6 router. The minion-shaped one is the most efficient one. Oh, it's really good, just run the tweaker. Oh, it's really good, just do that, just do this, just do this. And they'll list like a fucking mountainous, like, list. Like, people don't want to go through that bullshit. I'm not like a super nerd enthusiast when it comes to VR, but I am a fan, I am invested in the technology, and I do play it regularly, right? I mean, I have gaps where I don't because of the shit that I just talked about there. And at the end of the day, I don't want to go through all that stuff. Most people don't want to. It's all well and good for you to sit at the end of that pipeline of all that fucking around, drilling holes in your walls to set up the fucking, you know, index stations and all that shit. It's all well and good for you at the end to say, oh, it's fine, it's easy. You've already done all of that, right? And it's the same with like me with Guild Wars. You know, I'm sitting here at the end with all my legendary gear and all these years of hindsight and this, that, and the other thing. You know, my perspectives are probably dog shit. Like, well, I'm always trying to be cognizant of that, and I always try to put new player experiences first, always. I think that's fair, right? Like, you have to be very careful about what people are actually going through. So there's all these people saying the Steam frame is shit because it doesn't have color pass-through, or because the FOV isn't massively wider, or because the resolution isn't massively higher, or because it's not an OLED display. Doesn't matter, right? Adoption is what matters, and having something that people can just use and will be simple is extremely exciting. So I'm not a Valve fanboy, I'm really not, but I am fully on board with that device. I'm really, really, really excited about it. I've been reading about it a lot, and I put up a tweet on Blue Sky that was to the effect of that. I just mentioned there's two things that have been holding me off from playing more products and having more experiences, and so that's one of them. The other is the Meta ecosystem. Fuck Meta. Like, I'm not... Like, a lot of people are really obsessive about data farming and data harvesting and stuff on the internet, and they really shake their heads, and I actually think that's hysteria. I'm not on that moral outrage. That doesn't really matter to me. But, not that much. But the fact is, right, I have a huge Steam library, and I trust that I will have that Steam library 20 years from now, right? I trust it's a real thing. I'm not going to suddenly lose access to all of those games. I already have a lot of stuff set up with it. I like getting Steam achievements. I like making posts on Steam about the games I play. I like reviewing on Steam. I like putting screenshots on Steam. I like earning Steam trading cards to a certain extent. Like, it's an ecosystem, right? Like Xbox Live, when I was invested in my Xbox Live points, or your PSN trophies and shit, right? Like, I like Steam. I don't like a random Facebook fucking ecosystem where people get their headsets bricked, where they, you know, I don't use Facebook, right? But like, people might post something questionable and suddenly you lose all of your shit, or you can't trust that the service will go a long time. Like, it's why I don't really care about Origin or any of these other stores. I'm kind of in the Steam environment, right? So do I really want to spend 40 quid or whatever on a game that exists only on that headset? A headset that they might not support X years down the line. A headset that might get broken by their own updates. Like, I don't trust any of the meta side stuff. I don't want to buy things on meta. I was begrudging enough to buy virtual desktop on meta, right? I don't really do that. I'm not. It's like getting blood out of a stone. I will not buy shit on their store. I just won't do it. All right. And so everything I do is PC VR, which loops back to all this bullshit. However, on the Steam frame, like I've got so many VR games, right? Easy, comfortable, you know, but a lot of them glorified tech demos and stuff. Once the Steam frame comes out, I can play those, all of them, not just through PC VR, but I can do it standalone. I can fucking do it standalone. Now that's so exciting to me, to actually have my library on both, to fully be open now, to enjoying Steam sales and buying things like it will be very, very real for me. So yes, I have a Quest 3, but I'm still excited about their new head-mounted display, and I think it's going to be really, really, really good. The fact that the library will cross across both finally, and I can just escape that. And so yeah, basically, I want to escape the meta stuff, not on ethical grounds, not on, you know, some moral panic about data and all that shit, not because I think that Mark Zuckerberg is the greatest evil in the world. I think there's much more important things going on, but simply because I want to use my Steam library across both, and I want it to be hassle-free. So yeah, and also I don't really care about pass-through having color. I do these things to play games. I don't play... when I'm in VS Code, I'm not going to fucking sit there and... Or when I'm filling in Google Sheets or doing, you know, like... But I'm not... So I'm setting up some YouTube ad stuff at the moment. I'm not going to be doing that in fucking pass-through mode on a goddamn head-mounted display. No way! I'm going to use my monitor. It's not a substitute for a PC. So I don't care if it's black and white. Also, low light sucks on the Quest 3. Low light's going to work really well on the Steam frame. So yeah, and I really hope that Valve look at like the Steam homes and all the little demos and stuff. They did a lot of really amazing software stuff when the Index came out. I hope they just basically clear the dust and the cobwebs off of all of that and like build it up again, because that'll be really, really fun. Oh yeah, and it has eye tracking and the foveated streaming, so apparently even when you're playing it wireless, it feels like it's wired. Exciting. It's really good. A big mainstream headset that has eye tracking will let a lot of games optimize in a lot of fun ways too, so yeah. Anyway, so sorry, all those hardware announcements, the Steam machine is a thing as well. That one I'm not excited about at all, the PC. But I think for a lot of people getting into PC gaming, it's an excellent starting thing. And when we get back to Guild Wars, okay, here you go. I'm finally talking about Guild Wars again. You know, I've been very interested in how motivated companies have been to make sure that their games works on Steam Deck and gets that little verified on Steam Deck check thing on the store. Like, that really matters. They really care about the Steam Deck and, like, supporting that resolution. So, I would not be surprised, guys. Let's go back to Sky Gradient's comment here. Arenanet needs to be careful not to exclude low-spec machines, as the economy tanks. Making a new game that requires more than 3 GB of VRAM would be a massive mistake. They should go out of their way to make sure it runs native on old hardware. Well, I don't know about old hardware or what that really means, right? Or the 3 GB of VRAM threshold. But I think the Steam machine is going to be very big, actually. I think the specs of the Steam machine... If I was Arenanet right now, thinking about Project Tyria or some new entry into this franchise, I would be thinking about the Steam machine, and I would put my minimum specs onto that. That's going to be the bar, assuming it sells well. We don't know the price of a lot of these things, by the way, so all of these things could hit the market and be absolutely terrible because no one's going to buy them. But assuming Valve gets the price right, assuming there aren't recalls, assuming they have everything set up, and at the end of the day, maybe you shouldn't trust Valve too much when it comes to hardware. They don't actually have that great of a history with it. But anyway, assuming that becomes a big thing like the Steam Deck, I think you'll find Guild Wars 3 looks at that, the Steam machine. Don't you guys think? So yeah, we will see. There you go. I feel awful about these moments. Sorry, there's so many live chat messages going on, and I haven't had a chance to look at any of them. Steam Deck verified helps a lot. You also got tired of paying for fucking controllers. You're on the 3rd pair of Joy-Cons that gave up. Even with the Switch Lite, it was drifting. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't really own any... I remember back when I had the Dev Kit 1, there was this old thing called the Razer Hydra. Do you guys remember the Razer Hydra? I have enough peripherals that I'm not going to be messing about with that much. But oh, another thing that they're not too index users aren't too happy about with the Steam frame is that the knuckles. Like, I never use knuckles because I never had an index, but the Steam frame doesn't do knuckles, right? Which I think people are sad about. But I bet it'll be backwards compatible. The thing is that it's like end of life. They don't even make the hardware anymore. I think Valve are reaching out to see if any third parties will work with them to keep some of this hardware going. Minimum spec should be the deck. No. But for Guild Wars 3, I think minimum specs will probably be aligned with the Steam machine, not the deck. The deck is more appropriate for, you know, older things, I think. I don't know. All right, moving on. There you go. Bit of a big conversation there. Daskan Guru says, and sorry I talked a bit about that, but I've gone into every episode of this LP wanting to talk about that stuff and forgetting every time because we've been having so much fun interior. Not all achievements are account by. The adventure guide is not. I haven't played the VOE story on a second character. I assumed the story collections were per character. That's a good point, actually. Yeah, the adventure guides are character-based, aren't they? So they could have lent into that. They actually could have. We've never seen a complex achievement be character-based. See, I think maybe what it should be is, you see we've got achievements here. Maybe it should be account achievements and then character achievements, right? They should be totally separate environments, account and character. And the character guide could be on there. But as it happens, those collections are once ever. On my Troubadour, I didn't have to do them. On my Paragon, I didn't have to do them. The story's a lot quicker on your second time through. Okay, and the final comment here. Cryo6V says ads every 5 minutes, ... Yeah, you are not the first person to message me about this. I don't know what's going on, all right? Apparently, and I don't know if you guys can verify this. I'm not talking to the live viewers here, really. I'm talking to the... well, maybe I'm talking to the live viewers, but the people watching just the playlist. Apparently, YouTube's gone mental and is giving people ads every 5 minutes. And these are like 3-hour-long videos. I just want to assure everyone, I never set that up. I do not endorse that. And I've been trying to reduce that. I just don't exactly know how. So what I will say is if you take it upon yourself to get around these ads, I don't blame you. That's fine. What I will say, though, is if you take it upon yourself to get around these ads, please consider joining my Patreon or becoming a member here on YouTube. One or the other. It's more expensive to be a member on YouTube, but that's because they take a bigger cut. I get the same either way. Please do. So basically, my whole philosophy with this is while I'm live, I never put ads on. As far as I'm concerned, I'm funded through those things. And anyone who wants, you know, if you're gonna sidestep the ads, just please do that. It would be very, very, very nice. You know, I really, every penny counts and helps. So there you go. Ads every 5 minutes, and I'll use that as an opportunity to shield for Patreon. But yeah, I don't know what that is, and I'm gonna try and turn it off because it's not just about that. It's about like literally, who the fuck would watch my channel if there's not enough content to justify that? I would tune out so fast. One of the reasons I don't really watch Twitch anymore is because of the ad frequency. Like, how is this channel going to grow? How is anyone going to find it when I don't do anything that I should do? And then I have ads everywhere. So, yeah, I don't know what that is. That's really strange. And I'm sorry about that. Okay, there you go. Q&A done. Are we ready for some stories? I think we are. First thing I want to do is Hunt Master of Castora. We're going to read the Rites of Passage book. And that will give us an achievement. And getting that achievement will give us the mastery for the map, which will give us the chest, which will give us the mastery, the final mastery point of the entire expansion. Which is all very exciting, isn't it? One book to rule them all. Hunt, Master. And what are you doing, WP? Why aren't you moving? What's going on there? I don't understand. Is it possible that I'm on Wiki because I couldn't find the book before? Alright, the book is really close to us, apparently. Wow. I didn't actually plan for that. Let's pretend we did. This is all carefully set up. The meta's almost up. I've already done the meta for today, and I have no interest in streaming the meta again, so don't you guys worry about that. We won't be doing it. We've done enough of the metas, I think. We've seen them doing DPS, we've seen them healing. I may have just got this wrong. I may have looked at the wrong area. There's a mastery point in a lake. Oh, hold on. No, that was an older... No. It's here somewhere. Maybe on the cliff? Sorry. Acquiring a Galeus also has a little bit of story to it. Yes, I'm aware we will be doing that over the next 2 parts. Maybe 3, by the way. Yeah, there might be an extra episode. That was a really long Q&A section. Or rather, ranting about Valve hardware. So, I don't know. Okay, let me have a look now. I'm really... Live chat. What do you think? What do you think about some of that stuff? I'd like to hear. Are you guys excited about the Steam machine? Is anyone interested in the Steam frame? Are you convinced by my arguments? Do you think it's all a bunch of waffle? I told Mike about it the other day, and he basically just said, no, it's all a gimmick. I'm glad I don't spend my money on it, which I thought was a bit rude. But yeah, you know, I know a lot of people are in that camp. I don't know. Maybe it's... I mean, it's not a gimmick. I mean, there's a lot of really good games, and there's a type of gaming that you wouldn't experience otherwise. Obviously, we're not all in a position where we can buy these things. I understand that. You're very interested waiting on price. So yeah, what price would you pay? I mean, that's been big on my mind too. Like, I wouldn't pay $1,000. There's no way. And I've got the added level of as well of, you know, it's probably going to cost more in pounds. Apparently, people in, like, New Zealand and Australia get completely fucked with that. Like, they have to pay so much. Because Valve doesn't really do hardware in a lot of regions, and that kind of sucks. You're not into VR in the least. The machine would be neat if you didn't already have a PC. Yeah, I think for people without PCs, it's going to be good. But it comes down to price, obviously. I'm so pumped for it. I'm just annoyed I won't be able to... They won't be able to price it like a console because it would incentivize offices to replace their PCs with console-priced PCs. Oh my god, if you're hitting, like, offices as your market, then that would be insane. I mean, you're going to ship a lot of units doing that. I can imagine a lot of game development offices would probably have one in there, right? Just to make sure that it works well and stuff. You're excited to be perfect for the living room? Yeah, see, there is a fun... The machine is definitely the thing I'm least excited about with all of them. Because there is kind of a thing, right? HDMI cables do exist. Right? Like I have my PC hooked up to a big-ass fucking TV via HDMI cable. It can be in your living room. You can have a PC in your office, and you can move it, and it's not that hard to run a cable. It's not too hard to put it under the carpet or tack it to some walls or something. It's really not. It is a bit odd to me, where I do kind of feel like, you know, is it that hard? Like, I'm not sure what the market really is when a HDMI cable gets you most of the way there. You like the GameCube look? Yeah, people call it the Gabe Cube, right? I don't know, people are excited to have one that looks like a companion cube and all that shit. You know, and on their release video, they were like, ooh, it has a customizable LED line. And I'm sort of like, okay, so... It will replace your Steam Deck as your living room console. But then there is that thing about exclusives and stuff. I mean, it's funny as well, with everything that's going on with Xbox. Isn't it gonna... It's kind of weird, right? Your Steam machine could be your Xbox, right? Fast forward 5 years. I'll be playing Halo on my Steam machine. I'll be playing any of the old Xbox exclusives on the Steam machine. Controllers won't reach your PC? But... Okay, first of all, a bit of Steam, Valve hardware I used to have was a Steam Link, which you just connect via USB to your TV. And I had controllers, I had mouse, I had keyboard. It all worked. It's not hard, especially not with smart TVs these days. It can read it. It can go it to your TV. It can go it to your TV. Oh my god, is my brain melting like right through my ears? Why have I lost the ability to speak? All right, let's read this. Rites of passage. When you are a training young hunter, you must never make the prey too easy or the hunt too quick. They must not learn that they hunt solely for the reward, for the taking of a prize, for they will use any means available and dishonor themselves as they do. Instead, time must be spent to allow them to fail, to follow the wrong path, so that they will feel joy on rediscovering tracks, to miss their first arrow, so that they will be driven not to miss their second. The hunt, like all things, is in the process, in yearning to become better. The real quarry is oneself, and that the hunt has no end. That's just really good life advice about learning, isn't it? You know, I hear all these horror stories about Gen Alpha and young Gen Z on, like, the teachers' subreddits about how just petrified these kids are to ever make a mistake. They never speak up in class. They never put themselves forwards. They're just fucking terrified, sad little people that just cannot be allowed to do wrong. But you have to, that's a part of the human experience, right? That's a part of the learning experience. Otherwise, what are you doing? You're just following the little lines that the curriculum has set out for you, and that's it. Okay, here we go. An Alliance Field Operative coat. And the Seer Wreath of Service, which I'm not really sure what the wreath is for yet. I assume these are all Aqua Breather related things. By the way, I'm sure that's not an exclusively Gen Z and Alpha thing. There's a bit of juvenoia going in there. Like, I remember people at school that would never speak in class.
I know a good use for this.
So there you go, Tyrion Field Alliance Operative. And we got it. Look at that, guys. Every mastery point completed. Nothing on the UI. We're all clear. I think for most people, we just crossed another threshold. You know, you might consider the game to be done once you've beat the story and seen the metas. You might then consider it to be done once you've got all the mastery points and seen the lore side quests, and then the final one is every achievement, right? There's an Asura and Chart NPC just up north of the Lake of Lilies with really well-voiced dialogue. Very minor, but in case you wanted to give it a listen. Actually, I will do that. I'll do that because I'll tell you one other achievement I got yesterday. I didn't describe to you guys the last one just yet.
You've done it again, Wayfinder.
Well, you've done it again, Wayfinder. The Lake of Lilies is a little POI all the way over here. Oh my god, I've been in this ley line a lot longer than I expected. Actually, I've lost it. Where is it? Is that the Lake of Lilies? Ah, it's south. That's south. And it's quite interesting to me because it's really far away from the Renown Heart, but still in Renown Heart range. And it's made me realize this opening heart on this map actually has a lot to give. Okay, this is in heart range. It's not up because I've done it already. But there's a whole thing to the heart, guys, where you swim into this lake. I've never done this. This is on stream. And in this lake, there's like corals, and there's like barracuda you can pick up, and there's seaweed. There's like loads of edible food in here. And you're supposed to press F on all of them and deliver them as food into the food box. And it's what Wavehawks eat. It's the Wavehawk diet. And one of the achievements I got was to collect each bit of food. So here, Tengu Loftwing just joined the party, but he's not in this instance, so we don't actually know where he is. I could join on him, I guess. Join on him in the Starlit World. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that. Unfortunately, I can't show you the actual things. Here you go, he's here. Really well voice acted, these two. Yeah, but they're not speaking because they don't speak on demand this time. Oh man, if I could at least just press F to get the voice dialogue, that would be nice. You can already do anything. The special thing is it's Linux. Yeah, so that's something I've been quite interested in as well. Like, so I'm not. Maybe you guys can teach me, right? Because I'm not the biggest of nerds. In the YouTube comments or in the live chat, the whole Steam Deck thing, right? And the new Steam machine, all of this.
There's another one.
Oh, here we go.
I need to get a technical sketch. Just look at those colors. This place is overflowing with life. That's my 3rd new species today.
I am on my 5th now, and I know a 6th will reveal itself soon.
Not everything is a competition. You know?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's great. That's very cool. Yes, and that was quite well voice acted. It's Linux, right? But see, for me, when I used to mess with Linux like 15 years ago, you did not game on Linux, all right? You had to like run Wine. Here's what I did with Linux, okay? Here's what I did. It's a Guild Wars story, believe it or not. I wanted to play Guild Wars with someone in real life, but I only had one PC, right? So what I did was I set up I installed Linux so that I could multi-box the PC, so that you could have one PC, 2 monitors, mouse and keyboard on one, mouse and keyboard on the other, and they functioned like separate PCs, right? So you basically had like multiple terminals from the one PC, which I kind of naively went into as a teenager thinking, oh, this just makes sense. Right, why can't you do this? Not really thinking about how consequential that is for the world. Like, if that works really well, think about it. In developing countries, you can have just one PC, but an entire office using it all at once and stuff. Like, it's actually kind of an amazing idea. And it does work. Linux 15 years ago could do it. I'm sure it does it quite well now. But anyway, my idea was to have one PC, 2 monitors, 2 mice, 2 keyboards, and then run Guild Wars on both. So therefore, I could play couch co-op, if you will. I could have 2 people at one desk in real life, and you just play Guild Wars sitting next to each other. I wanted to do that for Guild Wars 1 and do like a big campaign. So that's why I was messing with Linux. And I learned at that time that Wine sucks and that there were all kinds of graphical issues and it was just a nightmare, really, right? But my understanding is that Valve kind of kicked everything into overdrive. And not only can you game on Linux now, there is a translation layer, obviously. And Mac gaming has always been dog shit and is losing support. And so, you remember when Arenanet got all that flack for no longer supporting Guild Wars on Linux? But it was because of Apple, right? There is a translation layer, but it's so efficient and it's so fast and it's so optimal that you actually get better performance in games. Is that right? So could I, for example, get my Steam machine running Steam OS and play Guild Wars 2 and it would run better? Is that right? I mean, it's not going to run better than my 3080, is it? Apparently it's going to be better than like 70% of hardware most people have, though. There is a question whether that's people in the West, where they're actually going to sell the fucking thing, or the whole world. But presumably they crunch those numbers. Anyway, yeah, so I don't really get that. Like, that seems pretty crazy to me. You still need to run Wine/Proton, but Steam completely takes care of it for you. It just works. And is that for the entire Steam library that works? Or is that only select Steam Deck verified games? Does it seriously work for everything? Also, can Steam OS do what I just talked about? Can it do the co-op thing? Can it do the split screen thing? The KVM thing? That would be amazing, right? Okay, wow. Okay, we hit our objective. So, what have we got? Let's do the rings. I need to tend to the Saurian egg ring. Let's complete this achievement here. This has been a very rambly episode. Oh, God. Is this content? You would think, right, after 15 years doing this job, I would have a sense of what good content is. Is it zerging around doing achievements? Is it sitting here chatting about unrelated shit? Who knows? Who knows? All right, the Saurian ring is north of the Hunter's Camp, apparently. So let's go back up there. Not everything, but most things. You can remember. The thing is, like, you know, it's like for any game I've ever been involved in, or like, you know, read what the community's saying and stuff, there's always people bitching, oh, it doesn't work on Linux, it doesn't work on Mac, and I always look at those people, and I'm a bit cold, right? I'm not the nicest of people sometimes. I always look at people like that, and I think, well, what the fuck do you expect? Don't game on Mac. Don't buy a fucking Mac. I really do look at people who like only have Macs and want to game on them as mugs, right? Like, it's not... But I don't see a good reason to use a Mac at all. Oh, but creatives use it. Yeah, you've been conned, right? It's a fucking brand thing. You've been conned. You've been told it's an expensive thing. It's a prestige thing. Well, go on, enjoy your fucking expensive brick. That's what I think about gamers on Mac. That is honestly what I think. And to a lesser extent, a little, I think that about people trying to game on Linux. That's how it's been for me over the past however long. But maybe I need to change, right? Maybe it all works now.
Armor enhanced.
And I'm a bit cold about it because, again, I only ever hear people bitching. You only ever hear these people pipe up when stuff doesn't work. Or they misallocate the blame, right? Like blaming Arenanet for the game no longer working on Apple Silicon or whatever. It's a cult-based. I mean, that's honestly, what I think I just said is the sensible thing, but Apple just grows and grows and grows and grows. And it's like, okay, so I guess there's some meaning to it.
Invigorating.
So I don't know. And like the whole industry, like, so I was looking into getting a Google Pixel. I didn't in the end. I might next year. I was looking into getting a Google Pixel. And they were talking about how the new Google operating system all looks different now. And it's because they're copying like Apple Glass or whatever. And it's like, we did this! This is just Vista! We did this years ago! Why? And like, so the Quest 3, they've just updated their UI to try to copy what Apple's done with their head-mounted display. And it's like, why? What? I just don't get it. I don't get their success. I mean, I kind of do. I get it just works, right? It's everything I just complimented the Steam frame. It just works, right? It's not for nerds. It's for people who just want things to work. But I don't know, man. There's so many drawbacks. You did start to play Guildell 2. And by the way, I'm not trying to personally insult anyone that runs a Mac. Obviously, I'm just memeing around here. You did start to play Guildell 2 on a MacBook. Then you built a PC. It was great for uni. You enjoyed it, but you love your PC. I'm aware that Mac is not Linux, but we're talking about other operating systems with dodgy compatibility with games. I mean, come on. Right. Wait. So, what? Sorry, I'm ranting here. We're looking for saurian eggs somewhere in the vicinity. Oh, there you go. There's a saurian egg. Aha. So now we want to see where we put it. Let's go up here. I'm using the wiki to see where it originally is, but not to spoil where to go. It takes a lot of user freedom away. Sometimes you just can't close Windows before you do what the OS wants you to do. Well, my understanding of Linux was always you got that freedom back. Like Microsoft got so much shit during like the Vista, Windows 7, early Windows 10 days for stuff like user account controls and like all the pop-ups and all the like, you know, loss of control. And there, I'm no stranger to a lot of people who are like, fuck this, you know. Just give me super user do and let me do everything, right? Let me delete the fucking root or whatever if I want. I don't know whether that's still sort of the big game with Linux. But people seem to have settled down a bit about that in modern years, I guess. I don't know. But, you know, I'm not a big tweaker. I tend to find when you go really hard trying to tweak and mess with things, you do introduce a lot more issues than you should get. Like, one of the guys I was raiding with this year couldn't raid with us one day. And it was because his windows were flickering in really weird ways. And we were like, why the fuck is this going on? Like, he had the weirdest bug. And we lost like 40 minutes trying to troubleshoot this guy's PC so that we could do like a career pull or something. And it was really annoying. It was like, well, what the fuck? This is so slow. And it's like, it's not the guy's fault necessarily. But then he did say, oh, a couple of days ago, I was running all these like game optimization things on my PC. And I was like fucking with like how Windows runs. And I was editing the registry and I was doing this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, well, yeah, so and now you've introduced a bunch of issues. Like, over and over and over again, that is the case for me. So I just don't believe in that stuff. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend to care about all the controls, because I think more often than not, users are given controls that they shouldn't have, and they don't utilize them well. You know, and I'll make the same argument about in-game graphics controls in video games. You know, it's the guy that goes in and puts on ultra culling and then wonders why he has 12 FPS. I don't believe in having too many options. You know, over in Stellaris, they, instead of like making the game good, they just add galaxy generation options. And it's like, yeah, but these are just ways in which people can fuck up their experience. And you're just raising the bar for what it takes to play the game. So look, I get all of these principles, and I understand Apple's success from those grounds. Oh, it was right here the whole time. Aha!
There's the power. Armor enhanced.
If you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. That argument only goes so far, though, right? Like, no one knows what they're doing the first time. We all have to take a plunge. We all have to have confidence to tinker and play. Right, next one is the Fern Quill Ring. Ferns. Interesting. Am I going to be moving a plant around, I wonder? So this one is at the Sky Shroud Canopy, near the Nestled Clutch. Sky Shroud Canopy. Ah, here. Okay. So it's somewhere around there, I think, is where the dot was. Hey, John Poggers! John Poggers! Dude, the Johns are so generous. Is your name John? Have you gifted your gift memberships yet today? Seriously, though, thank you. That's very nice. 5 gift memberships. That's awesome. Here we go. Afali says, I'm no expert. All I can say is that I switched to Linux Mint distribution about half a year ago, and I have no troubles. I can play everything I want to play. I really can't complain. That's awesome. So yeah, like, I'm out of date with my opinions on this stuff. I just remember how buggy things were and how shit the rendering got and how low the frames got and all of that with Wine. That's what I remember.
There's the power.
God, I love this UI so much. The fucking elemental empowerment UI. It adds so much to the class, guys. Honestly, just knowing there that I'd spiked up to like 5 empowerment, which was pretty quick, pretty good, and then I was at 9, so I was fairly happy. But I wanted that last one, and then to see the last one come in, it's cool. It is cool. Okay, so this here is what we want. We got a character select and back, I think. This is bugged again. Mint is really great. I don't know much about different distros. I used Ubuntu. Any Ubuntu enjoyers out there? I was an Ubuntu guy. Okay, so we're going to find a ring of ferns. Is Ubuntu even still around anymore?
And that's how amazing I am.
As far as I understand, they're basically just different, like, UIs almost, right? Like... Chat, does Stream still just do all the shit for you if you're using a different distro? Oh, Steam? Proton solved most of the issues with Wine. It's mostly automatic and most things just work. So Proton is basically like another project like Wine, right? A bit modern and so did Valve make Proton, or are they just using it and collaborating with them and all that sort of stuff? Do you think it's down? I'm scared to go down because it'll be annoying to get back up, but we'll have a look. You had Ubuntu on every school PC? Oh, that's cool. Nix OS. What is that? I've never heard of that. This is one of the nerdier discussions we've had. Is Arenanet adding Linux support for Steam console, I wonder? Or maybe it just runs fine just anyway? I don't know. That's probably something you could Google right now. Guild Wars 2 on Steam Deck. And see if it works. The controls and the UI would not be very good, I can tell you that.
Might end up as raptor food, and neither of us wants that.
Oh, Tengu Loftwing found it. You just found it too. Oh, yeah, there it is. Wow, look. That one's actually quite subtle. That's very good. Haha, I like this. This is better than the other year's ones. The Blue Poppy will ring. Blue Poppy. This one's over at the Tranquil Glen.
That had to hurt.
Okay. Proton is using Wine as a component. Oh, or a dependency. Oh god, this is just how, you know, every project just rolls into every other project, and just the spaghetti grows, right? The House of Dominoes. Guild Wars 2 runs great on Steam Deck. I'm not surprised by that, because Guild Wars 2, again, like, the reason Guild Wars 2 performance isn't great isn't because it's badly optimized. It's because it's badly optimized for stronger PCs. You know, but at the end of the day, it is a game that was being made in 2010, all right? And was really coming alive, and a lot of the development was 2010, 11, and released in 12, right? But so that snapshot, that was a long time ago now. And it is definitely true that you could run around on Queensdale, and I would expect on the Steam Deck. Maybe the newer stuff, not so easy. All right, blue poppies. We're looking for a ring of flowers. A ring of the blue ones, especially. Let's look in our hand. Oh, they're not blue, though. It's a basket of flowers. Maybe we climb up like that guy to get a good view of the environment. I know a lot of mothers who use wine as a dependency. Hopefully after the birth, right? Oh, there it is. I see it. It's over there. I see the ring of blue poppies. Caught it from a distance. Aha. All right, and the last one is the red mushrooms. Didn't we do mushrooms as the first one? I remember we were talking about fairy rings and mushrooms before. So the last one, and I'll stand here just in case our party member wants the help. So apparently the opening spot for the mushrooms is like on this, near zeolite, near that mirror. So I did a mirror run yesterday as well, by the way. I did the meta and I had like max stacks of keys. So I did it. And I found by the end, now that I've got this last mastery, I still had so many keys. Like it's like impossible to lose them all. Unless you're map hopping like I just did there. Which is kind of weird actually. It's like you lose out for messing with the mega servers and they're kind of edging in on the mechanics of it.
What did you see out there?
You might pour some wine.
Promising?
Look, if you need some wine to get through this content, I don't blame you, alright? Oh, WP streaming. Best go get some wine. As he insults me. He insults me for using a Mac. He insults me for using a marker path. He insults me for not having... What else do I insult? For not knowing the Guild Wars 1 add-on history. So we're looking for some mushrooms. He insults me for caring about Fashion Wars 2. Here's another thing I'll insult you on the VR thing, right? It's a bit like what I was talking about with slop, right? I fucking hate that people use the letters VR instead of the letters HMD. I hate that so much. Oh, I'm getting the new Steam VR. Oh, I'm getting the new Meta VR. No, you're getting a HMD. It's a head-mounted display. You're not getting a virtual reality, all right? You're not getting... like, they don't sell you a virtual reality. They're selling you a headset, all right? Talk about the new headset. Talk about the new HMD. Or at the very worst, right? Talk about the new VRD, right? The new VR device. You didn't get a VR. You're not buying a VR. Fucking stop that. But that's what everyone says. That's like the thing now. Oh, why? Why? That doesn't make any sense. Oh. A little part of me, a little cold, black, shriveled part of me dies and like melts away every time I read that. And that's like what people say. You didn't buy a VR, all right? You bought a headset, right? Or a VR system. You can just about maybe say you're getting VR, all right? Like, I'll accept that. You're getting virtual reality, maybe. Oh, they're over there. Oh, Zeolite was standing on them. We found it. All right, so anyway, there you go, all right? Reclaim the term HMD, please. Reclaim slop and reclaim HMD. If we do that, you know, I'm fine. We don't need a mini X-Pack next year. I don't need a mini X-Pack next year. I just want those words to be used correctly. Is that all right? There you go. I did all of the rings. Now we go back to Katra. And if I remember rightly, she was like to the right of this area. I don't think I should need the wiki for this one. Do I get frustrated when people say ATM machine too? No, I don't. I'm not claiming that it matters really. I'm not claiming to be consistent. All right. There are two parts of me that die whenever I see that. First is the part that has the emotional reaction. And then there's another part that dies that I care. Because why do I care? I shouldn't care. It's language. Language doesn't always make sense. Language is always changing. It's shorthand. Understanding was imparted. Nothing else matters. It's nothing to be uptight about. Shut up, all right? That's how I really feel. But nonetheless. There's a specific term for those things, like ATM machine, by the way, isn't there? Because there's quite a few of them. I don't know if people have got some other ones in chat. Oh, is it down here? Wow, Zeolite's like amazing. Look at Zeolite just like guiding us around. This guy's fucking improved the quality of these videos so much. Thank you. Hello, here's Katra. How's the search going? I believe I found them all. She has an amazing voice as well, so here we go. Let's enjoy it. Let's listen to someone else speak for once.
You've done it. The magic seems to flow more harmoniously when the Guildell rings are closed. And look, the Guildell came back. I'd like to leave this place in a better state than we found it. Thanks for nothing, Inquest. But I'm now free to resume my research. I'm eager to learn all I can about these little guys and their relationship to the Ley-line. It's not every day that we get to study magic this old, untouched by the dragon cycle. Somehow, it's a marvel.
Oh!
So thank you, Wayfinder. I'm sure this land thanks you too, and the Guildell.
Hold on. That's actually a huge revelation there. The magic here was untouched by the dragon cycle. What? So this place is like a giant bloodstone? How was it untouched? If the seers had the ability to protect a place from the dragon cycle, why didn't they help everyone in every way? Why didn't they use that same technique? Why were the bloodstones necessary in the first place? That's huge. I wonder if they'll ever go into that. All right, here we go. Mini Guildell. Oh,
what a pleasant surprise.
Look at that. And let's use it, shall we? It's a little bit cumbersome to set this up. Is he like cutting out the wiki middleman? Yeah. You know what? Why run add-ons? Why use Nexus? Why use Blishard? Why use the wiki? Why don't you guys just all use your own personal stream viewers to take you to where you need to go so that you have a good experience? Huh? I'm very confused. Why don't you do that? There you go. We'll add it to the favorites and we'll rep it for now. Aww. Little Guildell belongs to the Spud Club. Aww. There we go. Oh, we got a special thing done. The Alliance Field Operative. So there you go. The Wizard's Vault is now finished. We're just waiting on another 78 days. Okay, cool. So that's another Castoran culture finished as well. So we could do Captain Leo the Relentless or a magical journey. I think let's do Captain Leo the Relentless because a magical journey looks really long. Look at that. So we can dedicate the whole finale to that maybe. But Leo we can finish today. So, track down Captain Leo the Relentless by reading his book and finding the kitty crew. So we need to find the sailor. So, here's his book. Let's recap what it was. Chapter 2. Author's note. I have a tale to tell you, dear reader, of the greatest captain to sail the mighty seas of Castora. In this book, you'll learn the captain's kitty crew and maybe even how to find them, but tread carefully. They are the most scratch-throat band of land-lubbing varmints this side of the unending ocean. Chapter 1, Meow. It all started when Leo, gazing fatefully east across the impossible vastness of the sea, said to himself, Meow. He was a creature of brevity, it's true. But I think what he meant by this was, I would assemble a crew of the most scratch-throat brand of land-lubbing varmints this side of the unending ocean. Together we will sail to our legendary ancestral home of Tyria, where the rain is dry and the milk flows in rivers of frothy white, and so on. To begin filling out his crew, he wisely decided that first he'd need a cabin boy to serve his treats and fluff his blankets on the long journey eastward. Skippy loves treats and blankets, thought Leo. As do I. Likely he is basking in the red-leafed shade of the soaring sands. Meow, he said determinedly. And so the journey of Captain Leo the Relentless began. I like how his first priority was the cabin boy. We all have our indulgences. So Captain Leo the Relentless and Kitty Crew Chapter 2. Meow, said Skippy. What he meant by this was, I love treats and blankets, as do you. I accept the position of cabin boy on the fateful journey from Catstora to Tyria. Leo rejoiced. I look forward to observing your sailing prowess, my captain, added Skippy. That's when Leo realized he needed a sailor. I need a sailor, exclaimed Leo. Skippy said shenanigans. Leo's whiskers twitched in confusion. Shenanigans is her name, Leo. She's white as a sail herself and loves the view of the waves from her perch to the north in the arches. Meow, cried Leo determinedly, and off they trotted. So, a view of the waves from a perch to the north in the arches. So this place is called the Glimmering Arches, right? So maybe over here? I don't know. Oh, this feels like it crashed. No? Okay. Sometimes we have a slow load and it feels like a crash. You reject my VR and you replace it with your own. Ugh. You're getting the new HPV. Okay. I mean, it could be all the way up here. It could. I mean, there's a huge catchment area. A huge catchment area. Huh? Huh? A huge catchment? I'll be here all week. Actually, I won't be here all week. I'll be here for like 1 or 2 more episodes. So if you want more of these crazy... Oh my god, I fucking found it. If you want more of these crazy insights, get them while they're here. There you are, Shenanigans. Hey, do you know where the gunner is? Shenanigans points at an excerpt from Chapter 3, reading, Pippin has embraced the freebooter life, and he's become a weapons expert from observing these cannon-firing twins. Okay, that sounds like the meta area, doesn't it? Chapter 3, Shenanigans and the gunner. I love ships. The white sails match my fur, meowed Shenanigans. Leo rejoiced. Having a sailor aboard will free you up to blast our enemies to pieces with the cannons, Captain, cried Skippy with delight. That's when Leo realized he needed a gunner. He said, I expect you to get the idea, clever reader. Pippin, I like this. This is a cool little story. Pippin has embraced the freebooter life, and he's become a weapons expert from observing those cannon-firing twins, I'm sure, said Shenanigans. With that, they skedaddled southward. There's a mirror up there. Yeah, I think I've done all the mirrors on this map for today, though. That was a nice little emote, by the way. Do you know what Guild Wars needs? It needs auto emotes. Like, if I type hello, my character waves, right? If I type over there, my character points. If I type lol, my character cries. Oh, wait, what? My character laughs. Sorry. There's a rift. Rifts have been such a weird, empty part of the expansion for me. I've barely touched them. They've had no story influence. The things that are coming out of them don't seem that interesting.
Intruders!
Intruders!
What do you think you're getting?
Magical Journey is redoing events. Oh, that's bad. Oh dear. Actually, you guys will have noticed last year with Janthir Wilds and the year before that, Secrets of the Obscure especially, the Let's Plays ended in a kind of an awkward way because those achievements where you have to sit around waiting for events are not very Let's Playable. They're really slow, really, really tedious, and like you're just standing around doing nothing for a long. So I'm not sure I want to Let's Play those next year either. So does that mean that one we won't be able to do? That still leaves us with the Aqua Breather though, right? Okay, someone firing cannons. I'm checking the upper perimeter. Look how cool this is, right? You can fish up here and then you can drop down. And there's a cave under it. What a clever map. So maybe a heart? You think it's not here at the meta area? Let's get a little wiki hint here. Captain, Leo. Did I just spell captain wrong? No. Captain Leo the Relentless. So we want to find the gunner. No, the gunner is here. I was right. We got the right area. We got the right idea. It's like yeah, like there. Zeolites found it. It's like on the yeah, this is pretty far away actually though. Wait, is it? No. What? Hold on. Let me go into the area. It's very close to where we are right now. It just might be high or it might be low. See, if I come down here, the map, which is, oh fuck, it was, if I'd just come down, it would have been obvious, even from the start. Here you go. There's Pippin. And they do actually appear on the minimap, by the way, so... Pippin mostly ignores you, yet he somehow watches your movements closely at the same time. Good kitty. Say, would you happen to know where the navigator is? Pippin rolls his eyes and pours an excerpt from Chapter 4. that reads, "She's a real smarty paws, always there between town and the glades, watching experiments at the forecastle." Well, let's read the whole chapter. Pippin and the Navigator. Pippin, who smelled of gunpowder and musty cavern, nodded. Leo rejoiced. "You navigating then, Leo? Never took you for the brainy type," growled Pippin. "Let me guess, that hadn't occurred to you." "Better find Loki. She's a real smarty paws, always there between town and the glades, watching experiments at the forecastle." So they stretched their paws, raised their hind quarters, and headed north. Okay. I got a little bit of trivia for you guys, real life trivia about pirates, if you'd like to hear it. It's this, that captains kind of didn't do much in real life. Most pirate ships would have a captain and a quartermaster, and the quartermaster was the guy really making most of the decisions and doing most of the stuff. The captain did take precedence, but only during battle. I believe that's the actual setup. Yeah, all the pirate books and movies and stuff, they never really talk about the quartermaster. Apparently some of the ships also had like quite a lot of rules too, like bedtimes and stuff. Like they weren't rough and tumble in the way that you'd expect. Kind of kills the magic of it a little bit, doesn't it? But there you go. Well, this one was easy as fuck. Hello, Loki. Meow. Loki swishes her tail knowingly. Loki, found you. Okay, so I think I need to find the cook next. Loki noses an excerpt from chapter 5 before slinking away. Lounging by the cook fires of that pub as he does, his ability to prepare impeccable nourishment is assured. You want to refrain from rejoicing for the moment, mewed Loki. Leo didn't rejoice yet. I require my impeccably prepared nourishment to keep my wits sharp and my eyes keen. The mental burden of tracking our location across the impossible vastness of the sea. Hungry work, growled Pippin. And who's cooking, Leo? You? Don't make me purr. Meow! They all yowled in unison, by which they meant, Rudder! Yes, rudder, of course, rejoiced Leo. Lounging by the cook fires. I almost said cock fires there. Lounging by the cook fires of that pub as he does. His ability to prepare impeccable nourishment is assured. As you likely guessed, the clouder of cats cantered off to find Rudder. This is so nicely written. This is so sweet. How many of you guys have done this already? Okay, so I'm assuming I'll just find a cat here. There is an achievement icon, but is it a cat? It is a cat.
Started and it's already out of control. Showing off. Oh, please don't break that.
Rudder sits regally, hardly acknowledging your presence. Nice fur mustache. Okay, do you know where I could find the boatswain? Rudder actually looks awesome. Yeah, look at that. You know what I so rarely do in Guild Wars is actually look at the nameplates. You know these nameplates, they actually are taking a snapshot when you first interact with the NPC. So like that actually was like if I click a party member, for example, it will change and it'll update. I think a really cool update for Guild Wars would be if they just let these be animated, right? Why not have the idle animations of the cat as he breathes, right? Or like in the party menu. Don't you guys think that would be amazing? Like when I was playing on my Paragon, me and Kerry were like looking at the rats in one of the instances. And they're so cute with their little faceplates because you can't really see the rats actually in engine, but when you click them and you see the faceplate next to their health bar. And I was thinking, man, that should just be animated. And I feel like it's closer than you'd imagine. You know, when you press H, it's the same sort of thing going on here when you look at your character's idle animations. It was the same even in Guild Wars 1 when the dialogue boxes popped up there and Master Togo would be speaking to you. I feel like that would be cool. Okay, Rudder cocks an eye toward an excerpt from chapter 6 that reads... Well, let's not read it. Let's just read it in here. Save ourselves the breath. Rudder and the boatswain. Rudder puffed his furry, fish-stained mustaches. Plural. Yes, it shall be wonderful, I expect. Leo felt he could safely rejoice, and he did so. Yes, Rudder grumbled. Impeccably prepared nourishment is my speciality, he said with a flourish of whiskers. And who will ensure that the galley is stocked, that all my cooking apparatuses are maintained? Leo felt a moment of defeat. Might I suggest Tinker? Rumbled Rudder. Leo felt a moment of victory, then defeat again. Who in Cat's story is Tinker? He asked. Your future boatswain, I expect, chortled brother. She's a lover of the water too. A perfect fit, I expect. You'll find her among the falls between Cove and Hollow. The falls between Cove and Hollow. So the bottom left is the riddled cove. The twisting hollows. So it's the halls here. So Wiki says it's there. But I doubt it's on the lake. It's probably in the cave. So I'm going to go through that Inquest cave where we saw the rats just now. All Luffy does is puncture. I tried to watch that show this year, but I didn't get very far. I was talking about it, I think, during the Oblivion LP, maybe a little bit after that. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think I got it in me for really long anime. If I do it again, it will probably be the Pokemon anime and actually release the review series of it. Or what I'd love to do is synchronize a game LP with the anime. Wouldn't that be amazing? So like you do a Let's Play episode until you get to Violet City, and then you do a review episode of Ash getting to Violet City, and then you leapfrog left and right, left and right, left and right. I think it'd be really fun. Ooh. And that would be a nice way of like setting up all of the
An ocean trench.
like compartmentalizing the playlist and stuff, because like reviewing every single episode individually is probably too much. But doing an entire series in one script is also insane in the other direction. I ended up with like a novel of fucking details. Okay, so anyway, we're at a hero challenge, but I do not see a cat. Yes, please release it. I really would like to. I really would. So we'll see. I can feel my nostalgia and my appetite for watching it again growing. What I will say, though, probably is I wouldn't go all... Well, I don't know what I'd do. But the show kind of meaningfully ends at the end of Diamond Pearl, as far as I'm concerned. When Brock leaves and they get to the point where they completely reset Ash and make him a different kid, almost from a different continuity, and then it only starts sneaking continuity in later. Like, I'm kind of not about the show after that point. I don't know, maybe we do need to go on the cliffs. Let's go up. You would also see the anime doing random tangents based on obscure game NPCs. Yeah, exactly. You'd see that trivia play out there, wouldn't you? You'd actually see it there, which I think is cool. Also, the thing is, I'm a fan of Gen 1, 2, and 3, really, as far as the games are concerned. A bit of 4. I've done one playthrough of Platinum. And it was fun, but I don't have, like, that, like, adolescent connection to it, if you will. Oh, here we go. Over here. It was up. I guessed wrong, but here we are. Hello, Tinker. Meow! Tinker pounces on your foot and gives you a purr. Ah, Tinker, there you are. Okay, do you know where the Master at Arms is?
Not showing off.
Wow, our crew is so big. Tinker leaps onto an excerpt from Chapter 7. At least she didn't roll her eyes, us. That wasn't nice. Oh, I'm not allowed to read the book in combat? Oh, no, I am. Tinker and Hiss. The cascading waters, listen, we're listening to them right now, twinkled in Tinker's eyes as she licked at them at a mismatted paw. I agree. Leo rejoiced on one condition. Leo somehow knew he should have refrained from rejoicing. Shadow, purred Tinker. Hissed everyone. Shadow is my oldest, my most loyal friend. He's a delight. He loves my pouncing. I'll go nowhere without him. Take it or leave it, Leo, I care not, shrugged Tinker. I now understand why we never previously associated with this Tinker, snickered Skippy. Hackles raised, the crew retracted their claws and marched towards Shadow's master, Kay, and her skimmer net course. A skimmer net course. Okay, well that's really easy, isn't it? The skimmer net scramble. No wiki needed that time. You'd rather see the Pokemon stuff in your face. I quite respect that. I won't take that as an insult. And it shouldn't be. No, I would rather release it than that as well, to be honest. The face cam, the doing face cam thing is kind of more of a necessity than because I think it's what this industry demands. I'm real love of it if I do it and when I do it. Hello. Oh, Shadow's a dog. Oh, what kind of what breed is that? It looks like a black
Excruciating?
Boxer or something. Is that a boxer? No, I don't know. What breed? Mastiff? Is that a mastiff? Is that what mastiffs look like? Mastiffs are big, right? I don't know. I'm not good with that stuff. Shadow sits loyally next to Kay, seemingly ready to help anyone do anything. Shadow, who's a good boy? Now, do you know where to find the quartermaster? Shadow barks, placing a paw on a line from chapter 8. Chapter 8. Oh, we do get a quartermaster. Captain Leo the Relentless and the Key Crew. There you go. The cascading drool of Shadow's slobbery welcomed... Oh, sorry, let's read that again. The cascading drool of Shadow's slobbery welcome twinkled on Leo's nose. That's a sentence that when I would write that for my own creative writing, I would be fucking about with commas a bunch. I'd be thinking, where does the comma belong? Which is the subordinate clause? Fuck. But no, you just put it there naked. See? He's a delight, screeched Tinker. Course I am, barked Shadow. And now I'm an honorary kitty too, right? Tinker, always wanted to be. No, hissed everyone, except Leo. Fine, growled Leo, holding up a paw. I'll brook no argument. I am the captain, after all. What I am? Whimpered Shadow. What do I do? What's my job? If I don't have a job, Master K says. Master, yes, that's it. You will be the master at arms, yowled Leo, pleased with himself. Speaking of masters, we will need a quartermaster too, right? Asked Shenanigans. Sadie's always been getting pets from those robed people wandering in the ravine below her territory, and quarters are like shelters on a boat, right? Leo agreed to this logic. Leo agreed this logic was infallible, and the crew began their long trek to the opposite corner of the Strand. The opposite corner of the Strand. So we're going up to the off-going guys. By the way... So someone was speaking there, and I didn't want to interrupt them. I was having a little look at my Shipwreck Strand achievements, and there's quite a lot of events that I haven't done with those cultists, by the way. Again, I don't know how keen I am on making YouTube videos where we're just standing there waiting for the events to spawn, but off screen, I think I will see what they're like, and we'll see whether there's any fun ones. But yeah, as I said in the last part, I haven't really spent much time at Shoalstone, and there's a lot more to do there, so... First the gay couples on the beach, now this utter madness. What, with the cats and dogs living together? Oh, yeah, okay, I see what you said. Oh god, I opened the guild panel and it lagged me out. Do you know what? If getting a PC upgrade one day reduces this panel lag, I'll be so happy. Or if Arenanet themselves can just figure that out, that would be nice, so that everyone can experience, not just me. Oh my god, we still do have 3 more members of the crew to get. So maybe we just go in and see if there's a cat in the cave. I might be completely off with this, actually. I might have been a bit silly. This is the opposite corner, but... Oh, God. I'm nowhere near it, I think. I'm nowhere near it. It's, Oh, no, I'm not wrong. It's something like... here-ish, I think? How would we get there? We got to go through these caves somehow. It's amazing to me how much of this map feels like Tangled Depths to me. There you go. I can see the marker. But I think we're too low, maybe. Let's go up here. Because, you know, you got all the skimmerways, and then, like, there's a significant amount of, like, you know, caving. Alright, here we go. Hello, Shade. Sorry, Sadie. Sadie begins chattering a long string of mews, moans, and chirps. It's unclear if they're directed at you. What? How do I voice that? What is that cat noise? Is it like that? I don't know. Do cats do that? Okay, Sadie, right? But do you know where the first mate might be? Chattering away, she paws a spot in Chapter 9. Sadie and the first mate. Yeah, all right, I can do that, I guess. Bit of a loner, really. Don't talk to others much. Been learning from these people with the robes and the drinks and all that whole pineapple obsession. Watching how they care about others, being welcoming of strangers, that sort of thing. Noble pursuit, seems. Sure, I'll give it a shot. Oh, look, these cultists have taught the cat how to be nice. Just keep that dog away from me. I'm an honorary kitty, barked Shadow. Oh, my mistake. All right, then. So, yeah, am I taking orders direct from you, Captain? Or you have a first mate or something? You know, I could be a first mate instead of this, what do you call it, quartermaster. That's when Leo realised he needed a first mate, someone less talkative and not too far away. Casper! Casper will be my first mate, chirruped Leo with complete confidence. She's always close by, just to the south. I always think of Casper as a boy's name. But it is a unisex name, isn't it? Just to the south, keeping an eye on the dreaded Seneschal's beach from above. Ensuring our safety. She's a perfect choice for my first mate. Move out, crew. Okay, so the Seneschal fight happens... See, this is the thing. I don't really know based on the map. Which bit is it? Is this it? Just to the south. Let's try that. You disappeared for an hour while you put your daughter to bed. I don't know why you thought I would have stopped. Well, to be fair, we're getting close to stopping time here. We're going to finish this quest and then that will be the end of the episode, I think. It's 10:30. The problem is I've been starting at 8 PM instead of 7 PM the past 2 days. So, wait. There is a cat here. Aha! Today got a bit distracted with healthy doses of the VR I'm going to buy. I'm going to buy a VR and it's going to be really good. Have you guys got a VR? Does anyone in chat have a VR? I'm really curious. Casper. Casper keeps one eye on you and the other on the beach below. Hello, Casper. I was hoping you could point me towards the captain, please. Casper eyes you up and down. After a second, she points at an excerpt from Chapter 10. I think this is the final chapter, guys. Captain Leo the Relentless and the Kitty Crew, Chapter 10. Casper and the Captain. No! Leo refrained from rejoicing. But, meowed Leo determinedly. I said no. Go home, Leo. You shouldn't be out here. It's dangerous, hissed Casper. Captain Leo the Relentless does not take no for an answer, trilled Skippy. He most certainly does not. Yeah, right. He doesn't, yeah. Of course he don't. Of course he don't. Well, he has been known on occasion, if we're being honest. Be nice, Loki. No wonder nobody likes you. We never even met before today. How dare you? Row! Howled Casper. I love that. I can sort of imagine who said each line of dialogue too. From here, reader, the captain himself will need to give the go-ahead for you to read my translation of that howling meow. I don't have the authority. Captain's orders. You'll find him in his quarters, deep beneath the flotsam and jetsam of the southern strand. Good luck. Right, so they never ended up going. They never ended up sailing because they got into an argument here. Gaggle of cats. So what, we go back to Captain Leo, do we? Huh. It's quite odd. I'm looking at the wiki map. We need to go under the water here and do the banana to that grotto. By the way, in addition to the legendary aqua breather, there's also like some graves that I haven't visited on this map. That I'd like to do and probably would be fun to do on stream. Oh, man, the fucking whale event, by the way. These are cool as shit. I haven't done these for about a week. What I didn't point out on my LP is you actually see them splash into the water and they get animated as they move down and stuff. Right, so there should be a hole into a skimmerway somewhere near here. I thought it was that bit. You just found a warrior's grave. Nice, yeah. Oh, here we go. This is it. Skim away. Let's toggle onto the ley lines. Go, go, go. Wait. No, sorry, that's scanning. I think we want to go this way. So how did the cat get down into these grottos? I guess the idea is that there's gaps in the foliage or whatever. It's very clever as well, the way that they did all of this, because you can't drop into any of the grottos, but they all have lighting, and they all have the suggestion that there's light coming from above, you know? So it's this. And here he is. Captain Leo the Relentless, and he's got a pirate hat on. Oh, and an eye patch. Hello, Captain Leo. Captain Leo the Relentless stands proudly before you in all his majestic splendor. Actually, he'd probably be described more as cute than majestic. Maybe a younger kitty than expected. Are you Captain Leo the Relentless? I thought you'd be taller. Oh, there's a good line. Leo noses chapter 11 of the book, then lets forth a triumphant meow and brushes against your legs. It seems he has made you part of his crew. Oh, it's me! I'm the last member! Equip his mini to have you follow you around with an exclamation mark and written in parentheses. That's lovely. Ah, the way that they actually guide you to that like you are a little kid that just finished it. Man, I'm role-playing as being a little boy here. Alright, fuck off, Guildell. Captain Leo's in the house now. Oh god, is he not animated? Oh, he is, he is. Yeah! You know what? We should set up all of the kitties as our random minis. That's what we should do. We should have a kitty character. And we should wear the kitty ears. Was there a kitty outfit at any point? I don't know. Alright, chapter 11 is the final chapter. The Relentless. Ah! Oh, I'm the Relentless. Ah, you found the captain. I'm sure he rejoiced, reader. No doubt he appreciates your relentlessness. Probably ask you to join his crew. Or if you were a cat, or possibly a dog even. Now, the meaning of Casper's meow is a complicated one. But since you went to all this trouble, here's my best guess. Quiet, all of you, before you get us all killed by those crabs down there. Leo, see your friends safely home now. There's a reason we live so far from here. The cave is one of the safest spots in the Strand. Hiss! Kayla's coming. Get out of here, everyone. I'll see you at home, son. Oh! Oh, they were all little kids. Oh. That's my interpretation anyway. Again, it was a tough one, so take it with a grain of salt. Give Leo a scratch next time he's following you around, reader. And keep him safe for Casper. So are all the kitties in here? Is there a whole family of kitties that lives in here and they're all the... Is that right? Can someone make a Leo Tato Rejoice emote? Unfortunately, we haven't had any new emotes made for a while. I think the streams are a bit small, or I don't know. But that would be very cool, though. We never really used the Vlogs one that much, did we, either, lately? Yeah, I don't see any other cats in here. I thought we would get one of the kit sharks. I really thought one of the kitty sharks was going to be a part. Well, there you go. That was fun. That was cute. That was like last year's heist. It's not about the Sears. It's not about the Scepter of Awe. It's not about Sol D'Alessio. It's not about the nature of awe and the gods. But that does not mean I condemn it. That was really good. I had a lot of fun there. So, guys... That's it. The magical journey is next. It gives us some kind of pet rock. This does look like it's something to do with the Sears. I will do my best to play as much of this tomorrow as possible. But if every single one of these boxes is asking me to wait on an event and complete it, then it's going to be brutal and not very doable. We'll see. We'll assess it on the next part. Couple of graves to visit. I'll have a look at what's left, you know. Like, there's not many achievements across the whole game now. Anything that feels big, lore, meaningful, environment, stuff like that to go to. I'll get down on the list, and we're coming to the end of the Visions of Eternity Let's Play. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I will see you for what possibly might be the last part tomorrow. Take care, guys. Thanks for the advice. Thanks for the fun chit-chat, keeping me company here for the people in live. Drop YouTube comments. We'll do a Q&A section. If I don't get enough comments, you know, I won't do it. And yeah. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening. Hope you had a nice Monday. I'll see you soon. Will I do a story overview video? No, I haven't done any of those for ages. I find them a bit empty, you know. You can just play the game to find the story. It's not like they're really long experiences. So yeah. Cheers, guys. See you next time.